Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today we're going to do a reaction video of sorts. We're going to be taking a look at a pay-per-view on the WWE Network. However, I'm not going to be giving you any video because I don't want the WWE coming and getting the video taken down. I will include the audio though, just to try to make it a little easier for you guys to keep up. And if you have the network, I encourage you to hop on and watch right along with me. I'll be riffing on the things happening, making little jokes, sharing some stories of my time as a fan. I've been following for, let's see, about a little over 25 years now. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. First event we're going to look at is Starrcade 1983. I am really looking forward to this. I have seen this show, but not in a long time. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch the good old days of WCW slash NWA and see a little of how this whole thing really got its start as far as pay-per-view, even though the first Starrcade was not on pay-per-view. I am going to warn you that there will be a bit of an intermission in here because of the fact that my camera does not have enough memory to record 3 hours worth of footage. So when it starts to get a little closer to the end of my camera's lifespan, I'm going to take a moment to pause and reset it. I'll give you guys fair warning when I'm about to do it so you can pause right along with me. And after I reset my camera, I'll give you a timestamp just to be on the safe side, and we'll get right back in. Hopefully it won't be too jarring. We'll keep things flowing nicely here, hopefully. So I'm going to get ready to get started. I've got a nice little bucket of popcorn to enjoy, as well as a big old bottle of Pepsi. I am ready to enjoy some wrestling action. Now I have this set right to the beginning. We're past the advertisement, past the part where it tells you that the WWE's corporate views may not, coincide with what you see here, and past the TV 14 ads. We're right at the beginning of the actual show. There's not really a timestamp to give because we're right at 00. So we're going to get ready to start this off. We will start now. The Assassins. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the smaller of the two assassins, turn this down just a bit, the smaller one would go on to become Hercules in the WWF. Bugsy McGraw I got introduced to back in the early 90s with the old GWF, which aired, I think on ESPN. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Bugsy was a heel in that company. And I remember he had a thing where he would sit and listen to the turnbuckle pads. I mean, he'd get right up there and just listen, because apparently he was hearing voices from them. It was always kind of humorous. At least, when you're a kid. It's kind of humorous. The crowd's right into it right off the bat. Now see, I've always felt that that's kind of a heelish move. I know he's supposed to be the face, but taking off a guy's mask is kind of a heelish move. Remember, the Masked Assassin used to say that he wore the mask to protect his privacy and that of his family. So, taking the mask off is really kind of a jerk move.
Of course, on the closed circuit TV broadcast, and a great opportunity for everybody seeing this absolute new aura in professional wrestling. We're talking about, of course, coming up. Everything is geared tonight toward the Starrcade 83 and the flair for the gold. the World Heavyweight
Flair
Championship.
for the gold.
Harley Race and Ric Flair.
Gordon, you're 100% right.
That is going to be a good match. Interesting story related to this match. Well, not this match, but the match we were just talking about, Race and Flair. Rumor is that before the show, Vince McMahon tried to get Harley Race to no-show and sign with him. And when Race turned him down, Vince tried to attack him. Obviously, this being Harley Race, that didn't go so well for Vince. Now, I don't know how true this is. This is coming from Harley Race himself. Given the ruthlessness of Vince McMahon, according to a lot of the stories, I would not be surprised if this is true, but I don't really know for certain.
Gordon, while he is not as big and is not as heavy as the Assassin One, he has really got the muscles, and here is a strong individual. We've seen him come off of the ropes in the blocks and tackles, and it's just like not moving him.
Nice sell.
Strong and so powerful. Look at McGraw, though. Get him in the air for the slam.
All right, the Assassin felt the sting again. This goes back that time and feels it again now. A high hit toss by Bugsy McGraw. McGraw reaches out, makes the tag with Rufus R. Jones, the freight train, and the freight
Whoa, Rufus got the crazy legs. I think he's having a seizure. You ever had that moment, you know, you're wrestling a match and you just gotta dance? Oop, Botchamania. Speaking of, Botchamania for the cameraman.
Rufus now with the arm and the wrist. Still got the pressure on the Assassin. As the Assassin with his shoulders down almost to the mat, Gordon, but no count.
All right, Rufus R. Jones, the freight train. He takes a hard plumbing right hand to the side of the
And apparently we got the stereotypical black guy has a hard head gimmick.
Here's a man with a head. When he puts the headbutt on you, boy, you're going to know it, and at times he's going to go right down. All right, Bugsy McGraw now back in after that tag. McGraw now with the wrist is going to be back to the corner by the Assassin, and in the corner it could be trouble. As McGraw was double teamed there for a moment, but he's got to find his way now out of that corner. And the Assassin is going to back away at this point. Talk about the unpredictability of this man, Gordon, and right here you're going to see it.
Well, I've had an opportunity to watch all four of these men compete over a number of years, and Bugsy McGraw, of course, there you see Paul Jones cheering his men
You know,
on, and
Paul Jones is one of those managers you never really hear about. I mean, I know you could say it's because, you know, he was from the early 80s, but look, the Grand Wizard, he was from the early 80s, and people still talk about him.
It'll be interesting to see what
Nobody ever seems to remember Paul Jones.
came out of the University of Indiana, I believe, has his degree in business administration, is a very, very sensitive individual, belying the huge bulk and power that he has. Referee Tommy Young are at this moment having a pretty easy time of it.
Well, right there, I saw when he went by, and the fans may have noticed it, when McGraw had that fist clenched, and when he went by the referee, and the referee Tommy Young for this match, he sort of checked that fist of McGraw just to be sure he didn't have anything in that closed hand.
Or maybe he was trying to prevent him from having a closed hand, since closed fists are illegal.
A fellow that certainly is one of the great competitors. And he is the kind of a man that's going to dish out a lot of punishment. He'll take a lot of punishment. A lot of people have said that Rufus is a taker, and he just proved that point. He just took a hard right hand from the Assassin, retaliated in kind, and the Assassin's beginning to find out he's got a tough chore on his hands.
All right, still with that wrist in that hand, here is Rufus R. Freight Train Jones.
That mask is really tight.
And Rufus with that headbutt, and now with those double thrusts to the side of the head, brings a double thrust for you, and the Assassin on the mat.
No question about it. When the freight train gets riled, people start hitting the deck. All right, referee Tommy Young moving in on him once again as the Assassin moves back, gets back out of the way. Hard right hand by Rufus R. Jones. Another hard, stinging right hand.
He whipped that big man across the ring, and when he hit
What was that reaction from the ref?
hit it with a full force of speed. He just about moved that ring around.
Yeah, full Irish whip on him, put him down to the canvas. The Assassin is having his problems here. slowly.
What's he getting on Paul Jones for? He's not doing anything.
Rufus raked across the eyes.
I think he's got something.
And it is the assassin now with a side headlock. Ripping across the eyes once again. It's difficult to tell whether he has an object in his hand or not. Apparently not.
It's in his sleeve. He's keeping it in his sleeve. Those aren't exactly the most flattering outfits now that I think about it. I mean, yeah, it's useful for hiding something in the sleeve, but those are really unflattering outfits.
This is the lighter weight of the two, but he is powerfully muscled. Rufus catches him with a beautiful headbutt.
Hot tag. It's like an alternate version of the timber spot.
And McGraw now with a series of stinging right hands. And this one came from the backyard and dropped the assassin. You can see him shaking his head, trying to clear those cobwebs. And now it's both for him.
The referee has lost control.
It's going to be a wild time. Watch it. McGraw's got one assassin up for the atomic drop. There's Rufus after the other one. He runs him out of the ring. Now McGraw whips the other assassin toward the ropes.
High backdrop by Muncie McGraw. And McGraw up into the...
But was he even the legal man? I don't think he was the legal man.
Disappointing situation for Muncie McGraw and Rufus R. Jones, but in knowing the assassins and watching them compete over the years, I am not surprised. They're clever, they're devious, and they're extremely powerful.
Right you are.
And apparently they had the ref in their back pocket.
We're delighted to be bringing you, wherever you are, live from Greensboro, North Carolina, Starrcade 83. Gordon, you and I have seen wrestling for a long time, and the fans around the world have seen you from Superstation 17. This is the wrestling event of all time.
There's no question about that, Bob. Let me just say this.
The wrestling event of all time.
It is the flair for the gold. There's no question about it. The World Heavyweight Championship on the line tonight. 2 times World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair going back against 7 times World Heavyweight Champion Harley Racing. Of course, one other man, the only man to stand in between them during their championship careers, is here tonight and is going to challenge the winner, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Okay, and Gordon, I tell you, we have some other people around we wanted to see. Let's go to Tony Schiavone right now.
Okay, Bob Cottle, Gordon Soley, thank you very much. And we are here in the
Look how young everybody looks.
We're going to give you a unique view tonight during Starrcade 83. Something
Okay.
you've never seen before in professional wrestling. We will be here in the
Yeah,
dressing room.
a guy who looks like Jimmy Valiant should not just randomly walk across the background because he stands out too much.
You can see right now behind me some of the wrestlers are here. They're all excited. They've been here for a while. They're talking about the events coming up. And of course, it will all culminate with the World Championship match between Ric Flair and Harley Race of Flair for the gold. We'll be here. We'll be over talking to Harley Race. We'll talk to Ric Flair moments before they go into the ring to ask them how they feel about Starrcade 83, about the night that they've waited for such a long time. And
Apparently Roddy's teaching Flair a new dance.
Some of the wrestlers, and you'll get the unique view that you've never seen before in professional wrestling. We're just about ready for the second match to begin. At this time, we go to the voice of the Greensboro Coliseum and the ring announcer. Here's Tom Miller.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next event of the evening is a tag team match. One fall with a 45-minute time limit. Introducing first, in the corner to
The days when the matches had time
from
limits.
Indianapolis, Indiana, weighing in at 237 pounds, Johnny Weaver. His team partner from the Sunshine State of Florida, weighing in at 216 pounds, Scott McGee. Their opponents, first from Boston, Massachusetts, weighing in at 230 pounds, Kevin Sullivan. And his team partner, accompanied by his
He still
manager,
looks kind of
trainer,
old.
and advisor, Gary Hart, Mark Lewin. And your referee, Sonny Fargo.
I'm trying to remember Scott McGee. I think he was a guy that Vince McMahon was considering actually to be the next top guy, possibly replacing Hogan. And this is still back like in the early mid '80s. He had a really good match with Bret Hart, which was like a test match. But the problem is, it's Bret Hart. He can make anybody look like $1 million. I think it was Scott McGee. Although I don't know, as short as he is, I can't see Vince really liking him.
By the way, Starrcade 83 is a copyright presentation of Jim Crockett Promotions Incorporated. Any use of or any reproduction of this telecast is prohibited without written permission of Jim Crockett Promotions Incorporated.
Just smacked him across the back of the head.
Gonna come with the elbow right down on top of the head. McGee very quickly got out from under that. He saw it coming, ducked right under it, quickly out of the corner. And here's another tag now to Kevin Sullivan, who is back in.
Sullivan, of course, extremely dangerous, known as the Boston Battler in the purple fronts. It's Scott McGee now with the side.
The Boston Battler. The guy's gimmick is that he is a Satan worshiper. The Boston Battler is not the nickname I would give him.
Many people have accused Sullivan of being a druid. And
See?
I wouldn't be surprised if he were.
He come to rope. He saw Johnny Weaver with that right hand cocked and ready to go. And Johnny
Mark
Weaver
Lewin's the one I'm probably the least familiar with in this match.
and Sullivan, but also, Gordon, they're two of the finest scientific wrestlers around. This Scott McGee.
Of course, given how uncertain I am about Scott McGee.
Weaver, of course, has the experience and background similar to that of Mark Lewin.
What is with that facial expression on Lewin?
He and Kevin Sullivan, both of them somewhat younger in the professional ranks, but they have that youthful impetuosity. They've got that desire. They want to become stars in their own rights, and certainly I think they have. Beautiful move by McGee as he broke it up.
Well, he showed you right there some of the athletic ability he has. Good moving by Scott McGee. And fans right here, let's set the stage for you a little bit during Starrcade 83. Of course, a flare for the goal, and that's Ric Flair and Harley Race for the World Heavyweight Championship. Also, the World Tag Team Championship match. That between Giant Jerry Briscoe, Rick Steamboat, and Jay Youngblood. This one, Gordon, and I think fans around the world are waiting to see a collar match for the chain, the United States Heavyweight Championship match. Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine, and they'll have those dog colors around.
I don't think that's a U.S. title match, though. I'm pretty sure that's a non-title match. Bet you that'll be bloody.
Down in Puerto Rico and Trinidad are really looking forward to that match.
Well, of course, that match was banned in Puerto Rico, and for understandable
Banned.
reasons, because it got entirely out of hand. Carlos Colon has come all the way here.
Oh, an Abdullah the Butcher match that gets out of hand?
Determined a man. He
No.
has known Carlos Colon for years. He's a great, great competitor. But right now, Mark Lewin holding an advantage posture on Scott McGee. Scott McGee, who is
Candy.
in tremendous physical condition, no question about this. Here's a young fellow who, when he began his wrestling career as an amateur, didn't even have the niceties of hot showers. He had to, after he was through wrestling as an amateur, had to wash with a cold bucket of water, believe it or not. Here's a young man.
And he probably had to go to school uphill both ways.
The referee's got to disallow that tag. You know, between the ropes, Gordon, instead of over. You got to go over that top rope for that tag to your partner. And Johnny Weaver was through the ropes.
That was a tough break for Scott McGee.
There's actually some good tag team work from Sullivan there, cutting off McGee. They didn't make any mention of it. That was actually some good psychology.
And they want to keep the key there, too, Gordon.
No question about that. If they can tire him out, if they can keep
Got in the way, ref.
tagging up, as long as they stay refreshed, why, they're going to have a lot of things going their way. And Scott McGee is beginning to find that out right now. Unfortunate situation that he was disallowed the tag.
McGee's still in. He's been in for some time now. But he does need a tag. He needs to get
That
over.
ref needs to get in a little closer, actually. I'm probably going to be a little critical sometimes of referees because I did some refereeing at an indie company up in Rochester, New York. So I admit I'm like no Earl Hebner. I've never tried to sell merchandise illegally out of the back of my van, but I do have some experience in refereeing, and I do notice some little things like that. The fact that when there's submission hold in there, the referee needs to be a little bit closer. Bulldog. A weird bump by Sullivan. What was with that bump? Ref. Referee's not doing a very good job maintaining control in this match.
Another tag and another switch entry. Got that foot right into the midsection of Johnny Weaver, Gordon. Now watch this Kevin Sullivan.
Sullivan using the flat of the foot, using it very effectively and staying well within the parameters to move. Makes the tag once again. Good strategy here. Obviously, they're taking their instructions from good close-up shot here. Weaver, he's in a lot of pain, no question about it.
You can tell a tremendous amount of pain he's feeling as they've got that arm and that wrist, and you can see it in his face and his eyes.
McGee, you're not helping, McGee. Ooh.
Right down across the arm. He's got him covered with a press.
Ref.
Three count.
And second straight heel victory.
All right, he's got the 3 count, and it is the team of Mark Lewin and Kevin Sullivan victorious here.
Wow. Gary Hart like no-sold that drop kick. Ooh. Yeah, we have blading.
Well, we could possibly see a reversal of the situation here, I'm not sure. But obviously, we do have a problem here, and it is Angelo Mosca caught with that, and he too
He's
has
helpful.
been lacerated. Mosca has been lacerated in the arm, no question about it. Scott McGee, the severe laceration of the forehead, and it is Kevin Sullivan and Mark Lewin continuing to punish.
And Gary Hart is saying, give me more and give me more. Oh, Gordon right here, really uncalled for. Fans, this is just in the ring, and there's no way to get all the restored.
Ah, yes, the days when they didn't really worry about AIDS and all that kind of stuff and just let the blood flow.
He was caught in the arm with that foreign object, whatever it was. It was sufficient to severely lacerate Scott McGee and also Angelo Mosca. And a bad situation here, no question about it. But thankfully, Angelo Mosca, sometimes known as King Kong Mosca, was on hand.
We gonna maybe get a stretcher out for him, or
Trying to administer to Scott McGee out here in the center of the ring.
bye, ref.
And he is in a bad way.
I guess you guys got this handled. I'm gonna go home.
Sullivan with an object.
Just carry him to the back. Because apparently they don't have doctors on hand.
All right, and fans, you saw it, and you saw it right there in the ring, Gordon. Really uncalled for. Why in the world they wanted to go to do that and to punish him like that, I don't know. And particularly with that foreign object.
Well, that's the thing, of course. Gary Hart, and this is part of his background. He's always been a very, very devious but very clever manager. The thing that was so uncalled for is that they had the victory. This was unnecessary to continue to attack a young fellow like Scott McGee. Thank heavens, though, that Angelo Mosca was there, even though he received a severe laceration in his arm. He was still capable of ridding the ring, if you will.
As great a play-by-play man as Gordon Soley always was, one thing that did kind of bother me is he just seemed to lack a lot of emotion as he's talking about that. I mean, Bob Caudle is not, the greatest commentator I've ever heard, but at least he actually had some emotion from this very brutal scene. Solely acted like he just didn't care.
Think Ric Flair's gonna be part of it? There you got it. That's the opinion of the Estes family. And now to Tony Schiavone in the dressing room.
Okay, we're back here in the dressing room, and I'm flanked by many champions. Of course, U.S. champion Greg Valentine.
Hey, look at that. Harley Race has based his hair on Triple H.
And 7 times world heavyweight champion Harley Race. Mr. Race, I'm sure on Thanksgiving Day, the last place you wanted to be was Greensboro, North Carolina, but you're here right now, and I'm sure the fans are interested in some of your thoughts.
On any given day, the last place on earth that I would want to be would be Greensboro, North Carolina, facing the situation that I've got to face tonight. I've been sitting around here talking with a few of my friends that are knowledgeable about Ric Flair. They know his shortcomings. They have been around him for a number of months now, and I'm getting a little bit of insight on what has been happening to Ric Flair in the last few weeks. And please believe me, tonight, Flair, I know what your shortcomings are. I know where you hurt. And I'm going after each and every one of those spots.
There you hear it, friends, from 7 times world's heavyweight champion Harley Race, a man who says that he is ready.
I do kind of like seeing all the heels, even if they're not, a group, just hanging out together in the back. Not, planning anything devious, just hanging out.
From Puerto Rico, weighing in at 226 pounds, Carlos Colon. And his opponent.
Somehow I get a feeling Carlos is going to end up pretty bloody, and that's not cool.
Abdullah the Butcher. And your referee is Stu Schwartz. Okay, Stu Schwartz, the referee.
Why even bother checking for weapons? Abdullah the Butcher is in this match. It's going to be brutal. There'll be weapons. Your search is pointless.
And specifically challenged Abdullah the Butcher for this match because of the situation that had occurred in Puerto Rico. Said that that match was banned, and Abdullah the Butcher.
Right away, it looked like Abdullah went to those tights to get something out, Gordon.
Well, this is typical.
Yeah, good thing the ref checked him.
Man who appears to be impervious to pain is as vicious a competitor as I've ever seen in my life, and Cologne is having his hands.
I don't know if he's necessarily impervious to pain. I think he's kind of got the Cactus Jack thing where he enjoys it.
Wild man from the Sudan is the only explanation I can give for it.
There's tremendous difference in the size when you look at the two men. As you're talking about Abdullah, about 400 pounds, wild, he does anything. Carlos Colon, but as you say, he wanted him so bad, Gordon, he was ready to go anywhere to get him. And we're delighted that the fans back in Puerto Rico and San Juan are able to watch this match be a second.
Well, we certainly want to say a special hello to all of the folks in the great Caribbean Basin area, and I will say this, that Abdullah the Butcher has his own style. He's a dangerous, extremely powerful man, as Carlos Colon knows. The thing about Abdullah, though, is he has no scruples whatsoever.
And I think, too, fans, you will notice if you watch Abdullah, and Gordon, I don't know the reason for it, but I'm sure he's going to use them some way. Look at that tape on the fingers in the right hand of Abdullah. He's got his fingers taped up, he's got his wrist and his hand taped, and I'm sure that he's going to be using that on Carlos.
He'll seize any opportunity possible, there's no question about it. Colon counters with a beautiful right hand.
It's been mostly the Butcher, though, as he's had Carlos Colon in trouble on the ropes and in the corner. Watch the young man fight out now, coming out of that corner. He's turning the tide with those right
What's that under Abdullah's left arm? Is that a bandage or?
Colon closing in on Abdullah.
I think it's a bandage.
Stu Schwartz throwing
Sure, if maybe he just got something caught on the way to the ring. Oh, now Colon's got it. Susan, ref, why are you even there?
Object that was surreptitiously slipped out of the trunks of Abdullah the Butcher. He used it.
That's exactly right. That's where he got it, Gordon. He got the object away from Abdullah.
Oh, no, don't do that, dude. You're gonna get HIV.
Let's go to the crowd and love it. He's got Abdullah hurt. He's got him cut now,
See,
Gordon.
I'm not squeamish when it comes to blood and wrestling, but biting at an open wound, that gets me a little, cause that's disgusting. You're gonna get all sorts of diseases doing that.
Now he's got it in the mouth, ripping it and throwing it
Seriously,
out.
stop that, man.
Abdullah. Again, drives it to the head.
Is this no DQ?
And the big man, the wild man.
I don't remember them announcing it as no DQ.
Look at him reeling. Almost went down.
Nice sell.
And it is Abdullah the Butcher, who is now feeling the pain, the anger, and
The ref's tapping. I give up. Ooh. Bye, ref. The fans love it. The ref's out. Yeah, they're excited that the referee has been knocked out.
Carlos Colon, of course, certainly one of the greatest, all-time greatest Puerto Rican competitors in the world. And he is really beginning to punish the wild man from the Sudan.
These are kind of weak-looking shots to the knee. Going for the figure four. If you don't hurt yourself on those spiked boots. Hey!
Wait a minute, somebody just charged the ring.
The outfit looked like what Paul Jones was wearing.
From behind. There you see him. Just Juan Carlos Colon from behind and Abdullah the Butcher.
Hugo Savinovich, the former WWE Spanish commentator? I mean, I knew he wrestled before, but I've never actually seen him during his wrestling prime. Dude, don't play with that.
There he is. All right, let's go to Tony Schiavone, fans.
Okay, fans, we're back in the dressing room, and it really isn't a pleasant sight here. Angelo Mosca and Angelo, you got that World's Tag Team Championship match that you are supposed to be a referee in. The question is now, can you referee in that match?
I would referee this match. That boy that I saw out there tonight almost brought tears to my eyes.
Emotion.
Crimson red. It reminded me of a 21-year-old boy called my son.
Yes, my son Mosca.
So Mark Lewis,
A lot of people thought that was a weird name to give him,
I
but
felt the wrath of the spite. That's all they did was get my lifeblood in an uproar. Because when I was
Latin blood.
carrying that
Where's Angelo Mosca from?
21-year-old boy back
Mosca.
to the dressing
Is that
room,
Italian? I don't know where he's from.
I said there's no place in the NWA or professional wrestling for these acts. I've done a lot of nasty acts in my time, but I've never been a malicious man.
He's never been a malicious man.
In heart for youth. That youth is what makes our professional wrestling go. So I leave you
Wait,
with
is it-
these words.
Why is he sitting there? Why is he not on his way to a hospital or something? He looks dead.
Well, you heard it from Angelo Mosca.
Why?
He is a
Why
very
isn't there no
sensitive
doctor helping him?
Not in any good shape at all right now. And Angelo
You don't say. Why is he not at the hospital?
I know you're upset. Some thoughts about that one.
I have worked out with Ric Flair many, many times. I have never seen a man that's more ready. He has the attitude and the aptitude to be world's champion. I know Harley Race is a tough individual. But I know, and I think in my own heart, that Ric Flair is a man.
Let's go to Marvin Clary in the Greensboro Coliseum.
And he's going to do it for my son Mosca.
I'm here with Ann and Jean, who came from Raleigh, South Carolina. Was it worth the drive? Yes, ma'am. Worth every minute of it. Y'all go to wrestling matches a lot. Who's your favorite wrestler? Charlie Brown. Ric Flair. And who do you expect to win the big match?
Yeah, I gotta say, the yellow popper stopper on top of that microphone really kind of draws your attention. It takes away from the interview a little.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next event of the evening is a one-fall match, tag team match with a 45-minute time limit. Introducing first in the corner to my immediate left, from the state of Oklahoma, weighing in at 260 pounds, Chief Wahoo McDaniel. His team partner,
Always glaring at Mark Youngblood there. You better not screw this up for me, kid.
And their opponents, from Florida, weighing in at 235 pounds, Nick Slater.
Orton's so happy.
His team partner from Kansas City, Missouri.
He's so happy to be here.
38 pounds, Bob Orton Jr.
I gotta say, I realize it's actually a few years before it would happen, but it's still so weird to see Bob Orton without that cast. I mean, it wouldn't technically happen until 1985, early 85, I believe, when he started the whole cast thing. Eh? Yes, don't start the match yet. We have to introduce a special guest.
Apparently we had a quick audio failure.
Yeah, don't say.
Dusty Rhodes, where is Dusty
Alright, Dusty Rhodes. Yes, before we start this match, we gotta randomly introduce Dusty Rhodes. And don't get me wrong, I love Dusty, but this is just such a random spot to bring up the fact that Dusty Rhodes is here.
The winner of the Starrcade 83, the player for the gold, the match between Ric Flair and Harley Race. He is the only man that has stood between these two in that quest for the World Heavyweight Championship. But this tag team match should be something indeed. Wahoo McDaniels, formerly the New York Jets out of the Miami Dolphins, an outstanding athlete. All of us right now in Oklahoma. Facing,
I don't know, when it comes to the big name Native American wrestlers, Wahoo has always been secondary to me to Chief Jay Strongbow, which I think is mostly because I grew up as more of a WWE fan, and Strongbow was the big name Native American wrestler from WWE, whereas McDaniel was more of an NWA guy, so I was never as familiar.
well, Ric Flair, of course, here's a young man with
Slater, I remember when I started watching wrestling in 1990,
offers from
Slater,
colleges finally chosen.
I don't know if he was with WCW yet. I do remember him in the stud stable with Colonel Robert Parker, looking quite a bit different from what he looks like here.
Mark Youngblood now punishing
Judo chop.
one Dick Slater, making his presence very much felt in the squared circle.
I think during this match, and look at this shot now from overhead in the Greensboro Coliseum, high up in the ceiling.
It is actually a rather cool camera angle.
On the action from up high, Mark Youngblood, Jordan, I think Mark and
And you can see all the blood all over the mat.
complement each other exactly right in that ring. Big, rough, rugged, strong, tough, and here's the young
You know, in a way, that camera angle almost seems like something out of one of those old video games, like for the NES, even though I don't think any of the NES wrestling games actually had the overhead view.
There on those rafters really deserves a vote from everybody because he is about 75 feet in the air. And, that's a tough shot. That's a beautiful shot.
Dick Slater right there, just showing you some of the moves he has. Showing you that there's that shot again, but Slater
Ah,
right
the
there
neighbors
was
are
showing
noisy.
you some of the moves. Gordon, he can wrestle with you, or he can really get in and punish and punch with you. Whichever way you want to go, Dick Slater can do it, and he showed it to you right there, man.
Yeah, whether it's a Pier 6 brawl or straight wrestling, either way you want to go with Slater, he'll go. He just doesn't care. But trying for a back leg pickup, couldn't make it. Youngblood, he got that single leg pickup that time. Youngblood,
Seems like it wasn't really necessary to go over the top rope like that.
Slater was thrown over that top rope, and that's just not going to hold water.
no, his own momentum carried him over, and the referee Johnny Young.
You know, I never understood the over-the-top rope rule. Because, I mean, like, in Battle Royals, you throw them over the top rope, and that's how you eliminate people. So why in a regular match would it be illegal to throw someone over the top? Never understood that rule.
Back out, says pull back out of that corner. Slater trying to stay back in close, where his partner Bob Orton could just reach out, give him a little help, and if possible, they could double team Youngblood in that corner. And I think we're going to have a test of strength, but it's going to be Slater again right here, showing you some of the terrific moves that he has.
Good Russian leg sweep. It was excellently executed and makes the tag with Orton. Keeps this man tied up. Orton before the count gets that knee driven into the back of Youngblood. All done within the 4 count, which is the critical area. And now has him up. Let's see what he's doing.
It's actually pretty impressive for a guy who's not you know, really muscular. That's pretty impressive. Now, McDaniel, what are you doing? He's technically not doing anything illegal. What are you doing in the ring?
Really likes to hurt you. Bob Orton likes to punish you, and he's strong enough and big enough to do it, and he loves it.
He should be tagging. He should be tagging. Youngblood should be tagging out. Get Wahoo in there.
He's got that right hand cocked out near the center of the ring. Slater protecting Orton as Orton is still down in the corner. Well, Slater's going to go back out, and it's Orton going to stay in.
Honestly, didn't they tag?
Well, I think right now they're both trying to refigure their strategy.
Could have sworn they tagged. I think Slater's supposed to be in there right now.
They may have thought that Youngblood's inexperience may have served him in bad stead, but I think they're beginning to find out differently. There was obviously a serious discussion going on between Slater and Orton, and it's Orton now and changing the tempo of things. So it is. They're trying to. If you can.
Blind tag and a bit of an awkward moment there.
I think he did. He had made the tag to Slater when he went into the ropes. Back with a backbreaker again. And
That was a little awkward.
He's in bad trouble now. And he's a long way from a tag out near the center of the ring.
Spin.
He just got to ride that foot right into the face.
By being several inches off of his face.
As he's got him up, he's got to box him now with those lefts and a hard right hand. He went way back to get that big right.
Well, Slater is extremely handy with his dudes. A gut wrench salto that has Youngblood back to the canvas once again into a lateral press. Youngblood powers out before the count, however.
If he had hooked that leg,
After I'm slightly distracted by the vendor outside the ring who keeps passing by trying to sell programs.
goes down on the side of the ring.
There's one of those things you don't see anymore. If you want to get your merchandise, you got to go to the stand.
Look at Orton kicking and stomping away at him.
Wahoo McDaniels, who has been protesting to the referee about some of the tactics that are going on.
Yeah, Wahoo McDaniels has been just being a pest, really. Ooh. Ooh, that actually, the way he was bent made that look a lot more painful. Okay, seriously, Wahoo, you are not doing any favors.
There you see Slater, and you don't see any sympathy written on Slater's face whatsoever. All right.
He is going to make it. Wahoo gave him a little assistance, but he comes right in.
Little JYD headbutt there.
Gotta hand it to Youngblood, brother. He's got a lot of great second effort here. A lot of intestinal fortitude. Slater, and he tried to move him right through the uprights for a field goal.
Since I'm not sure if it's going to come up, for those of you who were not fans when this show took place, I'll give you a little bit of backstory involving these two. They were good buddies with Ric Flair. Then Flair was challenging Harley Race. He wanted a shot at the title. Race wanted nothing to do with it. So he put out a bounty on Flair. And these two were the ones who collected. They injured Flair's neck, took him out of action for a while, became heel, buddied up with Race. And then, of course, Flair came back from the injury. Now he's getting his shot at the title. And the idea is that these two, having been friends of Flair, are sharing all of his secrets with Harley Race. These days, that is seen as somewhat old and cliched story, but it works.
Youngblood, who was out once, he came back. He went into the ropes. He came off with that block. It would have been wise for him to go for the tag. Now he's trying to get to the tag.
Good block by Orton.
Nice cutoff tactics.
That was a good block. Headbutt by Dick Slater and his Youngblood veering backwards once again. Irish whip off the ropes, catches him in the back of the elbow. Youngblood back to the canvas once again. And Slater may have him now in a position where he's going to be able to affect a pinfall. Looks like he's trying to set him for a vertical suplex.
That's right. He's got him high in the air, and he comes with that.
And Slater feels totally confident
Now see, he needs to tag. Youngblood's kind of an idiot.
And I'm not sure Youngblood even realizes where he is. He is so stunned and so dazed with the punishment that he has taken so far in this match. So now I think he's beginning to move toward his own corner. If he can make the... He makes the tag! He makes the tag and it's Wahoo McDaniels.
Nice pop there for Wahoo.
It's Wahoo McDaniels, a series of 10 on 10s every step. The team of Slater are in trouble, no question about that.
You know, with the curly blonde hair, I keep thinking that Dick Slater reminds me a little of a young Kurt Hennig when his hair was a little bit darker during his like early run in the WWE. I believe that was about '83, but yeah, every so often I'll look at him and I'll see a little bit of Kurt Hennig in there. I think it's the blonde curly hair.
You don't count any one of these four-man count until there is a three count, no question about it. Orton with a foot on the rope, using that rope as an ally, and Wahoo McDaniel finishing it time.
But since Wahoo McDaniel got in after the tag, the tide of battle has definitely changed. But Wahoo now is going to be double teamed. As Orton got him by the legs, jumping up, and here comes Slater in. Is going to kick and stomp away at him.
You know, it seems like every time there's a hot tag in one of these tag matches on this show, that person just ends up getting in trouble himself. It's a lot different from the psychology of matches you see nowadays in tag team action. It does make the matches last longer.
Slater getting the edge here as Orton popped a cheap Sunday on Wahoo McDaniel, breaking him a belly-to-back suplex. That may spell the end here.
Wahoo out there in the center ring is in trouble as again. Slater has got him covered. Oh, we got a count of two. Again in the count of two, he got his shoulder up just on the nick of time.
Referee Tommy Young very carefully watching those shoulders, and now Slater, disgruntled, punishes him once again.
I actually liked that counting from the referee there. He has a good cadence. I liked the way, he was getting right down in there. It really made it look much more legitimate. Of course, a lot of the stuff in these days made it look much more legitimate than it does nowadays. Of course, that's because they still had kayfabe and the pretense of it being real.
Sets up, drives that back of the elbow into the head of Wahoo McDaniel and Orton.
He measured him very carefully for that one, Gordon. He got all of his weight and all of his power behind it as he did just that knee. Again, a count of two. Talking about determination. We've seen it in every match so far.
Great second effort, and I can't help but think that everybody here tonight, including all of the folks who are sitting the 60
In a way, you could say Orton's getting a little bit of a taste of his own medicine, but technically that wouldn't happen until WrestleMania when the same thing happens to Paul Orndorff with him coming off the top.
Keeps hitting him with that right hand. Made the tag. Now they're going to switch a double team on him.
And I am amazed, especially in this 1983 era, that they haven't made any Cowboys and Indians references.
very much his own way here with Dick Slater.
Uh-oh. I don't think he saw the tag.
He's down on the floor after having get hit by that knee. And this could spell trouble for Youngblood.
It was a bit of a delayed reaction on that drop kick.
Beautiful drop kick by Youngblood.
I kind of like the way Orton sells drop kicks.
Slater and Wahoo McDaniel battling on the outside of the ring.
I kind of want to see him sell one of Randy Orton's drop kicks, because Randy does throw a pretty good drop kick, and I love the way his dad sells them.
Now Slater moves back into the ring.
Ref, you are losing control.
You can see Youngblood kicking, flailing, trying to get out of it. Double teamed again. He's set up on that top turnbuckle.
Oh,
Watch Orton.
he's going for the superplex.
All right, Orton has things very much under control here. And
He don't get up from that. Three.
and unfortunately,
Wow, and another win for the heels. This show has been like all heels.
Well, desperately trying to get in, and as you say, he was just
I love how he's like rampaging. The referee still takes a moment though to raise Slater's arm so we know he won.
just too late.
Well, a tremendous match nonetheless. And I think everybody here has
Stay with me, man. Stay with me.
as we
You have so much to live for.
situation the World Heavyweight Championship match between two-times World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair and
They got a
seven-times
hold
World
on
Heavyweight
his
Champion
arm,
Ric
man.
Flair.
Right here, Slater was up on the top.
Yeah, they decided, no, maybe not.
Now they're trying to hurt him, and they're trying to punish him, and they're trying to really injure him right here. Now
Well, Orton's showing him how it's done. It's like, yeah, I'll get up on that top rope and come down.
A lot of punishment. It's interesting to note, too,
It's actually the second time we've seen that same type of attack to the arm. Although this one was a little more brutal, coming off the top rope to the outside than the one we saw in the previous tag match.
evicted from the area. And
well, he could have a busted arm here, Gordon.
there's no question about it. The fact that he's been injured, and he could have, if not a broken arm, he certainly the biceps and triceps could have been torn. Or okay, I'll tell you what, we've seen a great match here and a lot of great things upcoming. And of course, everybody gearing toward the little thing. But right now, let's go to Tony Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone.
Well, we're back in the dressing room with, and I'm sure I don't have to introduce these men. Nature Boy Ric Flair, former heavyweight champion, and of course Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood here with us. Rick, I've been over at Harley's dressing room, Harley Racing dressing room, talking to his friends. He says, and he says he has something prepared.
It's kind of funny. He's teamed up with Jay Youngblood, and Ricky Steamboat's last name actually is Blood. Why did they never stick with that name? Richard Blood. I mean, that sounds like a wrestler name.
All the marbles on the line. I prepared myself as hard mentally and physically as I prepare myself. I'm ready for anything. I want to take this opportunity in front of all these wonderful people that supported us. I wish Jay Youngblood and Rick Steamboat all the luck in the world. This is our night. We're not going to let anybody down.
I'll tell you what, Rick, you've worked long and hard for it, and to me, and I know
You realize he's walked away, right?
are the deserved world heavyweight champion. I know that you've trained with Rick and myself at Rick's gym, and it's taken a toll because you've proven to everybody around the area exactly what the flair for the gold means. Now, Rick and I have got a match against Jack and Jerry Briscoe, probably one of the most important matches of our entire lifetime. Everything that
He kind of looks sad. I mean, you just see he looks so sad. I feel so bad for
We're
him.
ready, we're mentally prepared, and without a doubt, Jack and Joe Briscoe, you will see your inevitable end coming soon.
Three men who are going for the gold. Now, we've seen 4 exciting matches so far. We have some highlights of those matches to show you right now.
Highlights. Or we can go to Dusty Rhodes. That works.
Everybody,
Eh?
Rhodes, how do you think?
It's a big thrill to be in such a quick
Oh, the best talkers they're gonna have on the show, and the mic's not working. Who's that guy in the background photobombing the interview?
The winner of this World Heavyweight Championship match, Dusty Rhodes, 2 times World Heavyweight Champion, the American Dream.
Oh, this is a shame.
Very unfortunately, we are experiencing a bit of audio problems. We'll try and get this interview back.
Thank you for that.
Everybody remember, wrestling history to be made.
Oh, I want to hear this. It's Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. I want to hear this.
one of you, Rick, fly for the.
Well, if you can read his lips, you can tell what he's saying.
Well, you can't read Dusty Rhodes' lips. Half the time, even when you can hear him, you're not really sure what he's saying.
Work a lot harder afterwards because he's got Dusty Rhodes to deal with.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next event of the evening is a one-fall match with a 60-minute time limit. The first 15 minutes of this match, the NWA television title will be on the line
since he brings that up, I'm actually going to check my timer when the bell rings and see if this match goes longer than 15 minutes.
And now, the NWA television champion, accompanied by his manager, trainer, and advisor, Gary Hart, weighing in at 235 pounds, from Singapore, the Great Kabuki.
The kayfabe, I believe, father of the Great Muta.
Of course, Kabuki.
Alright, let me check my timer here.
Outer raiment goes back for generations.
Ring the bell.
One of the feared,
Ring the bell, I want to see.
competitors in wrestling today. But,
Okay.
going up against Charlie Brown, he's got a head.
Now I'll give you the basic story behind the mask and all. Jimmy Valiant had lost one of those loser leaves town matches and came back with a mask on, claiming to be Charlie Brown from out of town. Now, of course, Jimmy Valiant is one of those guys, you know him when you see him. It's obviously him. But you technically can't prove it. It's a little like when Hulk Hogan was doing the whole Mr. America thing. It's really a shame, though, that this gimmick came in the early 80s. If this gimmick was done nowadays, then Charlie Brown there could have potentially teamed up with Snoop Dogg. Yeah, I'd say.
Gary Hart is there. What in the world is going on? What's with this wild man? As he's going to drag Kabuki down near the center of the ring.
Gotta love the fair play from the face here.
Reporters and photographers from all over the world here tonight. You can see them around the ring. From the Orient, from the Far East, also Bill Apter and Greg Peters from, of course, Pro Wrestling Illustrated and Inside Wrestling. And downtown Charlie Brown's got it going again. Kabuki is in a whole lot of trouble.
All right, he was down on one knee near the ropes, and here's down right quick back on the head. He's got another sleeper as he comes down the rope. Near the center of the ring, and Kabuki just about out at this point.
And I believe around this time, Jesse Ventura or Bobby Heenan would be saying that that is a choke because it looks like the forearm is underneath the chin. And that is usually how in pro wrestling they constitute a choke, not a sleeper.
Not sure what he should do at this point. Really concerned and upset. Trying to figure out what's going on. As they're down on the mat and Charlie Brown still putting the pressure on the sleeper. Kabuki very nearly out.
Let's not forget, of course, the first 15 minutes of this match, the television championship on the line. And a lot of titles been decided here tonight. And, of course, the one big title, the Flair for the Gold, Starrcade 83. The World Championship match between the 7 times World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race and Ric Flair, 2 times World Heavyweight Champion. Brother, I'll tell you, putting these two tremendous gladiators
You know,
together.
speaking of managers that nobody ever really talks about, Gary Hart. I mean, he lasted quite a while. I remember seeing a show in 1989, and Gary Hart was still around. So it's kind of surprising that nobody ever talks about him when they talk about managers throughout history.
Interestingly enough, of course, the sleeper hold originated in the Orient. That forearm coming across the carotid artery, that, of course, cuts off the blood supply to the brain, drops the blood pressure, and creates unconsciousness. And it is downtown Charlie Brown getting the job done right now on the Great Kabuki.
Twice he's had him in the sleeper. Twice he's had him down on the mat. And again, he's near the ropes where Gary Hart could just reach out and grab that foot.
It's like, hey ref, look, I just put his foot on the rope. Hope that's not a problem.
Which is not surprising at all. And Kabuki now trying to retaliate in kind. It would be odd indeed and almost ironic justice if Charlie Brown could defeat him with that sleeper hold because that hold originated in the Far East.
Yes, you have said that.
As many of the wrestlers are, but Kabuki possesses probably more knowledge of the martial arts court than any wrestler in the ring today.
No question about it, we just saw an example
Because
of that.
if you're a wrestler from any part of Asia, then you are a martial artist.
Look at the floor. He's got the claw hold to the head, clamping down on both nipples.
I see. This is what comes from spending time wrestling in WCCW. The Von Erichs, doing all the claw holds, eventually you just pick it up and you start using it. I'm thinking a lot of people that wrestled for WCCW probably ended up using the claw hold in their careers after they left. He's just got to dance.
Beautiful backdrop by downtown Charlie Brown. And I'll tell you what, he caught it that time.
He's going to come off. He's going to fly.
Charlie Brown, and he went right back to that claw on the ropes guard.
Really? Does coming off the second rope really add to the pressure of the claw hold?
Once again, it is Kabuki utilizing that Oriental claw very effectively. And we may be seeing the
Oriental claw, that is like no different from the claw the Von Erichs used. That is not an Oriental claw.
Shoulders Brown gets that left shoulder off the mat. He's got it off the mat and he is retaining consciousness. That's the key to this entire situation. He is maintaining his consciousness. He's trying to get back to his feet. And Kabuki keeps that claw going, but I'll tell you what. Charlie Brown back to the canvas again. Problems here.
Gordon, you're right, and you can tell by the way he's moving that he's becoming extremely weak from this claw, from that pressure on both sides of the temple. It's the fact that Kabuki has so much strength in those hands that when he puts it on that...
Yeah, something else I never understood. Grabbing your wrist while you do the claw hold, is it supposed to add pressure? Because I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Once again, remember it's the title versus the mask. An overhead shot here, and it is Charlie Brown coming back up. Charlie Brown battling for everything that he's got right here.
He's going to make it to his feet, and that's unbelievable, the determination and the strength and the willpower, and it was mind-moving right there by Charlie
Got them happy feet.
Great second effort here by Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown lashes out with a kick. Catches him once again. Irish whip into the far turnbuckle.
He's really out of the ring now, Gordon. He has taken so much punishment. He has been in that claw so long, and he was very unsteady on his feet. Here goes
Kabuki on that top ring rope. Gary Hart giving him the signal. Charlie Brown trying
I know there's been a lot of Valiants in the wrestling world. I wonder if they were all related. Like, was Jimmy Valiant related to Luscious Johnny V? I'm gonna look that up
Charlie Brown was that great
here. I want to
second effort
see
here.
that.
He is
Jimmy.
not unconscious.
It's unbelievable, and he still has the mental capacity to realize that he's got to keep that shoulder off of the
Jimmy
mat.
Valiant.
You see the intensity on Gary Hart's face. He realizes what's at stake here.
Wow, the way he looks in this picture.
He got it up.
He just did get that shoulder up.
Is he
I did too. It was an
part
interesting situation because
of
as that hand went down for the 3 count, Charlie Brown got that shoulder up before his hand hit the
And it
mat.
looked like Kabuki may put him away. Again, he gets that shoulder off of the mat and stops that count. Kabuki.
Well, Jimmy Valiant is not his actual name. His actual name is James Harold Fanning. So, does that... What about the other... Johnny Valiant. I know there were others. There was like Gentleman Jerry Valiant, and
You just can't count the number of times, fans, that Kabuki is
his real name is John L. Sullivan. So no,
Charlie Brown.
there is no relation whatsoever between Jimmy Valiant and Johnny Valiant.
And again, Charlie Brown
I have never understood this. If you win, he has to take the mask off. So why mess with it during the match? It just makes it seem like you don't have any confidence. You don't think you can win, so you're going to try to take it off early. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it looks like we are almost... Alright. There are about 5 minutes remaining for the television title to still be on the line. And he beat him within the time. That was within 15 minutes, so Charlie Brown is the new television champion and keeps his mask. And we've had our first face win. That was within 15 minutes, unless they're going to do some type of crazy wrestling time rule. Sure looked like it. I'm going to check to see how much time I've got left. Okay, I got plenty of time there.
Backyard. I know he's been working hard. All the people from G105 are behind him, and I know all the people here tonight in Greensboro want to see Ric Flair to take the gold home. It is a Flair for the gold.
All right, dude, and you're right 100% about that, Gordon. I tell you, so far, Starrcade 83, well, it's lived up to all the expectations and more, and yet to come, unbelievable.
No question about it. You know, as it was said earlier, this is bringing a whole new era to professional wrestling. And for those of you who are watching tonight, you are watching history in the making. No question about it. And later on, you're going to see it. The match of all time. No question about that. Ric Flair against Harley Race. Popular consensus here right now seems to be...
Not necessarily the greatest match of all time, but the match of all time.
Who's become a living legend, who has won that World Heavyweight Championship on 7 different occasions. No other man in the history of the NWA has accomplished that feat besides Harley Race.
Gordon, you're 100% right. Now, what a match is going to be. That plus the Tag Team Championship match. The World Tag Team title is going to be at stake. And what I am most anxious to see in fans, I know if you've never seen one, you'll never see anything else like this. And this is that collar and that chain match.
Yeah.
Greg Valentine and Roddy Piper.
Okay, there you've got it. Roddy Piper, and I can only say one thing about Roddy Piper. Yeah, here's a man who's been an island unto himself, but I'll never forget what he did for me one time when he was on Channel 17 with me, and I got knocked down, and Roddy Piper was the man who jumped in and made sure that nothing further happened. I'll never forget that. Sentimentally, I have to be with Roddy Piper tonight.
Piper was a heel commentator at the time, working with Gordon Soley. There was a big brawl. Soley got knocked down, and Piper stepped in, which kind of gave him a bit of a face turn.
A bounty on Ric Flair, and of course it put Flair in the hospital, put him out for a time, but Bobby's here for Starrcade 83.
Ric Flair did come back, and I'll tell you something, it wasn't without the help of one Raw and McDaniels. Harley Race has been the World Heavyweight Champion 7 times. He paid us the $25 grand, we collected it. If it wasn't for McDaniels, we'd have got Flair and put him back in the hospital again. But the cold hard fact of the matter is, Flair does have his match. But like I just said, 7-time world champion, Harley Race, with the information he's gathered from men like Dick Slater and myself, I feel like he will have no more trouble beating Ric Flair than we just did Walter McDaniels. I think we turned his arm into mush.
What about against Flair? He's not on the hot water yet. Because this man right here, being the world's heavyweight champion 7 times, and being in probably some of the toughest matches, of course, now being able to have to go in a cage match, Harley, I look at it like Jimmy Crockett, the National Wrestling Alliance. You know, they did this because they figured Bob Orton Jr., Dick Slater, and Harley Race would conspire to put Ric Flair out again. But Ric Flair is not on the hot water yet because he still has to wrestle this man. And I don't believe Harley Race is going to take it very easily.
Let me say this straight to you, Ric Flair. I know you're watching, just like I watched a few minutes ago when the camera was in the other dressing room. I'm with the two people that probably know you better than you know yourself. This, right now, this picture of the three, you'll remember when I hit that ring.
The three being Harley Race, Bob Orton, and Tony Schiavone, apparently.
And I'm coming for that neck, buddy. That's my whole ball game all night long, is your neck and the elimination of Ric Flair.
Fans, you heard it from the dressing room of the world's heavyweight champion. Now let's go to Barbara Clary out in the Greensboro Coliseum.
Everyone here is watching
Gonna try this again?
the outcome of the big Race Flair match, but the man next to me wants to do more than watch. He wants to issue a challenge. Dusty?
You know, Bubba, we're here on the biggest event in the history of wrestling, Dusty Rhodes McIntyre. Anywhere that there has been a big event in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, Dusty Rhodes McIntyre, 2 times world heavyweight champion, is here. They have asked me many questions tonight. I'm here to celebrate this. I'm partying down, challenging the winner of this match to meet Dusty Rhodes so I can be 3rd time world heavyweight champion once again. But the thing that is really pressing is who will win this match. Harley Race, the folk hero, 7 times world heavyweight champion, a man known all over the world with stamina and just complete drive and guts right inside him to be 7 times world champion. And the nature boy, Ric Flair, right here at his home place, yes, that all his own people around him, a flair for the goal.
Love it.
Starrcade 83. For me to pick a winner, either one, I can handle the situation for the 3rd time. I want to make that challenge right now, but I'm going to go right out on a limb. And I'm going to say just real easy that the folk hero, the legend, cannot be denied. And you know who the folk hero is. Harley Race. Starrcade 83, I'm coming for you when this one's over. The man of steel, Dusty Rhodes. Power to this Starrcade 83 is fantastic, Barbara.
The man who wins is going to have to work for the belt, but he's going to have to work a lot harder
I'd
to
say
keep it. Now that's
Dusty he draws you in. Right off the bat, just for the way he speaks. I love Dusty promos.
Both of these wrestlers will be chained to each
Holy
other
cow, the
around
hair
necks
on that guy.
throughout the duration of this event. This event has no disqualification and no time limit to a finish. Introducing first, in the corner to my left, from Scotland, weighing in at 242 pounds, Roddy Piper.
Somebody just told him a really funny
From
joke.
Seattle, Washington, weighing in at 240 pounds, the United States heavyweight champion, the man with a bionic elbow, Greg
I thought that was Dusty.
Valentine.
He had the deer in the headlights look. Oh, thanks, Greg. I needed that. Oh man, I hope I didn't peak my microphone too much from that.
It was Piper who lost that title to Valentine. Suffered a severe injury to his ear.
Oh, that was good.
In this match now, 1 fall to a finish. No disqualification, Bob. I can only think here, and as I said earlier, it is
Oh,
not
nice
my
shirt.
position or your position to become subjective and to remain objective, but sentimentally, I certainly have to go along with Roddy Piper.
No doubt, and Gordon, I think so many of the fans feel the same way about it. I can't help but think what a dangerous match this is. That chain, it's a huge, heavy chain. The links in it are very large. It's
This is
about
probably
like
gonna
what
be a
we
little
used to call,
bloody
and a lot of
match.
you may be familiar with it, a cow chain. And there you see just the size of that chain with a collar now, very much like a collar that goes around a pit bull, and it's got staves on that collar. Gordon, I think that this chain can be used so many ways as a weapon. It can be wrapped around an opponent's arm or his leg. It can injure him severely that way. It can be put around his fist to be used as some type of nux. It can be hit with that chain. It can be used as a whip. Any number of ways that they can use this. I think it's got to be the most dangerous match that I've ever heard of in professional wrestling.
Well, there's certainly no question about the danger of this event. And the other thing that bothers me is that I'm not really sure that Piper actually belongs back in the ring. He suffered that ear injury. He had a loss of hearing and a loss of equilibrium. And,
You know, that ear injury, I've heard that it was storyline, and I've heard that it was real, but a lot of people have said that the selling of the ear injury, whether it was real or not, was part of the reason Roddy was constantly tugging at his ear when he did interviews.
And right away now you can see another danger in this match, and that's the neck. The neck can be severely injured with a jerk or a twist or something with his collar around it. As they started out, it's sort of like a tug of war here with the chains around the neck, Gordon.
And I'm pretty sure Valentine would win that, because I'm pretty sure he's stronger than Roddy.
The temperament of these two men. But of course, the gold is riding on it as well.
And here is Roddy Piper now reaching out. He's pulling that chain in and walking and moving up that chain. Valentine holding some links of it as they come close to each other. But look at the link in Roddy Piper's.
Piper scores.
Exactly as the whip was being talked about. And Piper had several links of that chain down to whip across the arm.
All right, once again, it is Roddy Piper.
You know, I've seen my share of chain matches. You don't see them very often, I think, because of how much it limits the movement of the wrestlers, but this is showing really how you to best do this kind of a match. Well, that was random.
Gordon, this is a match that promoter Jim Crockett had said time and time again it was so dangerous that he would not sanction it. It was a match that Roddy Piper stayed on top of. He pushed it and he pushed it. He kept on. The fans insisted that the match be held. And finally, promoter Jim Crockett gave in and signed it. But fans, you're watching right now. I can't imagine two men linked together like this in Mortal Kombat.
Whether you talk about combat, they're starting to exchange right hands now. They forgot about chains and everything else. It was just some clubbing, hard right hands. Well, I must say, Jim Crockett has proven tonight, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he is certainly a pioneer in a brand new era of professional wrestling. And
You see, this is another reason I think a lot of times these type of matches are not done. It's hot. Are not done nowadays, is because it starts with a very slow pace, but it makes sense because both guys are a little trepidatious. They've got this chain. They don't want to get hit with it. But I think that makes it a little too slow paced for a lot of the modern style.
Valentine is down, and now has his problems again.
Valentine seems to be hindered by the chain more than help.
You think?
Roddy Piper down on his face goes Valentine.
Referee's too short, watching things carefully now. Greg Valentine coming up, and Greg Valentine is weary. But he strikes back a hard right hand, an elbow to the top of the head. Another elbow to the prefrontal lobe, and now it is Greg Valentine punishing Roddy Piper, using that chain now as a pair of brass knucks, and using it very effectively.
Well, it's not really brass knucks. I mean,
Once again.
He's going right to the ear, Gordon. He's trying to work on that ear. Slings it down by that chain. Let me point out, Gordon, right here to all of the fans, there has to be a winner in this match. There's no disqualification. The match cannot be stopped. There's got to be a winner.
ooh, right in the eyes.
The chain now wrapped around Roddy Piper's eyes, around his head, and around his throat.
Well, it's not really around his throat.
Piper, a lot of problems here, no question. Piper's got a handful of problems, and it is Valentine punishing Piper. Piper unable to see due to the chains across his eyes.
I don't know, maybe he's seeing through the
Valentine
links.
is concentrating, going back to that ear.
That's right.
And if he can destroy the equilibrium of Roddy Piper,
That's a nice strategy, just whack.
what a beautiful high knee lift.
Oh. Seems painful. Ooh, ah, ooh, and he's twisted it.
The opposite kind of pressure here. He had it his own way for a while, but now Piper is
Ow.
really been kind.
Wrapped around the nose and wrapped around the mind.
Seriously.
And Piper hits him with a fist right on the chain while it's around the face. The injury that you can receive from this
I think
chain
we're gonna see a
is
blade
just
job pretty soon, unless they're just gonna go ahead and do it hard way.
Going at it tooth and nail. Now Piper with that chain
Which, with the chain, they might just decided, you know what, when it's time, just hit me legit.
That's right, he's got him tied to the corner. And with the longer length of chain, he's got the leverage.
He has got full leverage now on Greg Valentine, and Piper's quickly closing in on it. So the battling Scotsman is letting Greg Valentine know what it's all about. Those of you in the great state of Washington who are watching tonight, your champion is in trouble here, no question about that. Roddy
And
Piper seems to
what
have
makes
no
you so
idea.
certain that he's their champion?
Valentine, who has laid claim to it, and I think rightfully so.
Ow.
He's probably the greatest
Oh, it's-
heavyweight champion of all
See, this
time.
match just seems painful, and Valentine's bloody, which isn't a surprise. You knew this was going to be a bloody match.
See the crowd here very clearly in favor of Roddy Piper and shouting their encouragement, but Greg Valentine drives him back.
Ref, back away. There are no disqualifications. Back away. Your job is to count a pin or a submission. Back off.
Outside the ring.
Valentine now going to go out, and they're both outside of the ring, and again as a hook goes that chain. Gordon, I noticed, and you can look at the crowd, and you can see the concern on the faces of the
Just chuck it. Just chuck that chair at him.
Going at it like this. With the weapons that they've got at their disposal, the crowd seems to be a little bit stunned by it.
And I'll tell you what, Roddy Piper will give you everything, including the kitchen sink, and that's exactly what he's doing to Greg Valentine.
He's going to hang him now.
Except for the fact the collar's up by his mouth.
Smashing right hand, another right hand. To that great front lobe, and it is
Now, ref. This is a terrible ref. He has no business getting physically involved.
The referee was trying to push him away. He went right to the
Like, that's not his job.
reaches back and grabs
This is a no disqualification match. The referee does not need to be physically involved.
it earlier.
well, this is the thing I was concerned about. This is why I was worried about Roddy going into this match in the first place.
And now they're both bloody.
Covered, and could he take the punishment back to that ear? Greg Valentine was totally aware of the situation and is doing exactly that. He's punishing for everything that he's got now. And Piper is at this point in time, a battle-weary, a battle-scarred veteran.
This show brought to you by Coke.
It's a question now of just how much second effort is there, how much adrenaline is flowing.
You know what's funny is actually you could be referred to either type of Coke given the situation here.
It looks like it's going his
I mean, this is 1980s pro wrestling.
Still outside of the ring, on his feet, but he's staggering around.
I'm sure both the liquid and the powder
Badly damaged at this point.
were quite prevalent in the arena that night.
Feeling him staggering around. I think the chain, if anything, is holding him up at this point.
I wonder now if he is able to hear out of that side at all. I wonder if besides the inner ear being damaged, if he's able to hear anything on that side. And this again,
Buddha match.
his balance is gone. Roddy Piper's balance is gone. There's no question about it.
Valentine pulling him out by the chain near the center of the ring. Wraps that chain around that hand. Another hard right hand right on that ear. And Roddy Piper right here can be in real danger, fans. Gordon, he can lose the hearing in that ear and the use of that ear forever.
Well, he's had partial loss already, and this may be the crowning blow. As far as I'm concerned, frankly, I would think maybe somebody should throw in the towel for this man. He cannot maintain his balance. He cannot keep his equilibrium. And I'm convinced about, whoa, he strikes back. But to no avail as Greg Valentine senses victory here.
He is fighting on sheer determination and pure guts, Gordon. He just refuses to quit, refuses to give in to Valentine. But he may be doing himself more harm than good by continuing this match and refusing to quit.
Valentine trying to set him up for a suplex. And Piper drives to the midsection. A beautiful right-hand shot to the midsection catches him. Piper staggered backwards again. Piper comes off the ropes, catches him. A glancing blow across the forehead. It's Piper still trying to stay on his feet, still having that problem.
Yeah, he's not doing that very
Every
well.
chance he gets, Valentine is going to go to the ear. There was the elbow. Piper just falls flat down on the mat. He can hardly move at this point.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Valentine elbow.
Known as Piper, but he's got a lot of problems here. One of
the chain does seem to be hindering Valentine a little bit. He keeps needing to adjust.
Valentine keeps punishing him with.
This may well be it. To Meltzer. Again, he powers out. Well, you talk about intestinal fortitude, talking about fighting on instinct alone.
I hope he's not showing more guts than sense right here, Gordon. He's been causing some
The camera angle actually made that look kind of funny because Valentine just falls into the frame. Man, the crowd is into this match.
Holding onto the ring ropes. And Piper having problems now standing upright, but seems to be getting it back. He seems to be getting it back, and he explodes with a hard right hand. Catches him with a chain once again and again. And Valentine goes face forward into the mat.
Now with Valentine, it's Piper who's using that chain as a whip. Valentine on his knees, turns right into Piper. Hard blow to the top of the head. And there's Valentine who is almost out. What a comeback here.
And you might want to take a real close look at Rick Valentine and check those eyes, because he may have already suffered a concussion, as Piper caught him several times with that chain into the top of the head, and Valentine may be literally out on his feet. No, sir. He fires back and catches that ear once
He's going
again.
right back to that ear. He's going to stay with it if possible. He's trying to land every
Well, Valentine always has thrown kind of wide shots with his punches.
Piper, a series of stinging left hands and a haymaker right, and another haymaker right. And it is Valentine trying to go.
He's going to get that chain around the throat of Valentine.
Boy, you talk about a knockdown drag out. That one came from the backyard. Valentine down to one knee. Piper watches his man, closes in, and it's Valentine using that chain now.
Using it as a choke. Wrapping around the throat, and he's got him into the ropes now, choking Piper. Gordon, just exactly as we said in the beginning
See,
of
the match seems kind of slow paced, but it works for the story they're telling.
Anything can happen. Very dangerous. A man can get hurt in so many
For a
ways.
second there, I thought he was going to go for the figure four.
During this match. But they've got so much determination. High to the air goes Valentine. All his weight right down.
I'll tell you what, the man is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Just
He
get
is
down there.
acting on sheer instinct now. Just a gut reaction. Referee's too short, shaking his head, says, no, sir, he had the shoulder up. I don't think Valentine can believe it. And psychologically, Piper may be winning the battle at this point psychologically, because he is not. Valentine has not.
Check my time. Okay.
It's got to be very disturbing to Greg Valentine that he has delivered all of that punishment, that he has hit Piper on that ear the number of times that he has, and still Piper is able to come back. Valentine has got to be saying, what have I got to do to put this man out and to put him away?
Trying to set him for a vertical suplex, and it's Piper trying to counter it. And both men blocking each other effectively at this point in time. Good block.
And I think Valentine would technically get the advantage here, being the stronger of the two.
Piper again. He did wait at him, and it is now Piper for the vertical suplex.
And look at the crowd, pushing another huge crowd in this arena, and they're both flat on the mat. They look like they're both out and both completely exhausted.
A dual count here.
What are you counting for?
Piper is up.
I'm pretty sure the match cannot end in a draw.
The dual count was on. Piper catches him in the midsection, right at the belt line, coming in. That was a forearm.
And then forearm again.
Gotta love how hokey the selling was at times back in these days. Another sleeper.
Goes for the sleeper hold. And this may well be all she wrote for Roddy Piper. This will very easily be a tough to beat. A game competitor, gave it his all. But Greg Valentine.
Now, one thing that could bring up here is the idea that with the collar on, Valentine might not be able to really lock that sleeper in as tight as he would like. Where the collar would actually be more of a hindrance here to Valentine than a help.
Valentine must not have
Dude, I'm pretty sure you're gonna hit yourself if you swing back.
Cannot get because of the amount of perspiration, the amount of that life-giving fluid around his neck that he can't clamp down properly. Good indeed, no question about it, Bob. That collar could be a determining factor here. It may have got the pressure off of the
I gotta say, I'm really enjoying this match.
figure out now at this point in time where he is.
I can see why this is considered to be, you know, one of the classic matches of the 80s.
Bothering him even more.
Once again, Greg Valentine seems to have it all his own way. Valentine down with the elbow across the chest. Valentine back to his feet once again. Valentine seems to hold the advantage posture here. Valentine up on the second rope.
Oh, it's a little awkward. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, nice. I like that. I like that way of doing it. You bringing the chain into it. Okay, and with that match done, we are going to get ready to take a little intermission here so that I can reset my camera because I'm starting to run out of memory. So we're going to get ready to pause this here. 3, 2, 1, pause. All right. So we will be right back after a brief intermission. Alright, and we're back. Took a little moment, got my camera all freshened up, and we are ready to continue with the action. Right now, just in case you need it, I am time-stamped at 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 58 seconds. So, we're going to get ready to start back up here. So, 3, 2, 1, play.
This crowd of over 16,000.
Valentine not taking his loss well. I would not say he gained his revenge. I would not call this revenge. If he had gotten his revenge, then Piper would not be getting choked out right now. Now the referee's back in. You know, maybe it'd help if we got more referee. I do just get a kick out of Valentine just belting the ref. Seriously, maybe some more referees could be getting down here. I'll try to get Piper out of there. I'm still all excited. Oh, Piper's on his feet. Again, I would not call this a moral victory.
thing we
He
must
got the
remember
pin,
is we got
and then he
this
got
in
the
our
crap
minds
beat out of
throughout
him.
the year. How much damage was done to that ear, and is it going to be permanent damage again?
That's the problem. And of course, I'm sure that he's going to be checked immediately by a physician in the dressing room. Because
Is it the same physician that should have been checking on Scott McGee earlier?
There's no taking away that Roddy Piper is a man and 5 yards wide.
Well, you're 100% right, no doubt about that. And
That's
I
a
think
weird
right now,
analogy.
if possible, we're going to see if we can go right here to Barbara Clary.
As the minutes tick by, we're getting
Barbara
closer to
Clary's
Ric Flair
looking
for
kinda
the gold.
manly.
Ric Flair versus Harley Race for the World's Heavyweight Championship. And Rick, I was, of course, just in Harley's dressing room. He was in there with Slater and Orton, and Wahoo McDaniel's also with us. You saw what they did to Wahoo, and they seem like pretty happy men right now.
Well, they should be happy for the moment.
Shouldn't these people getting injured be like at the hospital or something?
Not happy at all, because whatever they've done to Wahoo McDaniels, we don't know the extent of his injury yet. They're going to have to face up to
Then maybe he should be at the
in the very
hospital.
near future. As for Harley Race, I want you to get in that ring, and I want you to do everything in the world to keep me from winning that heavyweight championship, because that's the kind of match I expect out of you. You're a heck of a man. I'll never take that away from you, Race. But I'm ready. And thanks to Wahoo McDaniels, thanks to Steamboat, and thanks to Youngblood, I'm prepared. Wahoo played a major part in getting to where I am today. And I want Wahoo to know that in the future, he needs anything from me at any time. Count on me. Race, count the moments, brother, because we're going to get in that cage. You're not going to have Orton and Slater. You're just going to have Ric Flair to contend with.
Wahoo, this man's ready.
Well, you know, I know he's ready. And I'm glad they made me a comment by saying that I got him ready for this and helped him. But the man didn't have to come to me because I've wrestled against him and I've wrestled with him and I've been in the gym with him. I've been jogging down the road, brother, when it was hard to run, when we're sore, we're tired. Orton and Slater's trying to take over. They're trying to hurt him again. But he got here. He's here for the flair for gold, brother. And I'll tell you one thing. I'll bet all my money on Ric Flair. And I'm going to be there and I'm going to see it. And I'm going to see history made right here in North Carolina because the world's heavyweight championship belt is coming right back to Charlotte Flair, and I guarantee you I'm behind you 100%.
Fans, the man is ready. Let's now go to ringside. Barbara Clary has Dr. Ellen.
You know, I've actually been liking these back and forth interviews between Race and Flair. It's really been helping to build up the anticipation. I'm really looking forward to the match.
Steamboat and Youngblood are great friends. I'm wrestling them both. It's a great night. I'd like to wish them all good luck, and I'd like to see a great match.
How about the last match? Who do you think is going to win that one?
Flair's in shape. I've been friends with Flair. I'd like to see Ric Flair take that title right here at the ring tonight.
Okay, now let's go to the ring announcer, Tony.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next event of the evening is a tag team match for the World's Tag Team Championship.
Yay!
No time limit.
Title
No
matches.
change hands on a disqualification. Special referee for this event, wrestling great Angelo Mosca.
Hope he doesn't count with his left hand. Why is Don Cornotto in the ring? I like the Pro Wrestling Illustrated t-shirt too. You would never see that in the WWE. You would never see one of the wrestlers wearing a t-shirt promoting PWI.
Introducing the challengers. First, from Mescalero, New Mexico, weighing in at 226 pounds, Jay Youngblood. And his team partner from Honolulu, Hawaii, weighing in at
Apparently someone told them an even funnier joke than Roddy Piper heard.
And now, the world's tag team champions from Stillwater, Oklahoma, with a combined wrestling weight of 467 pounds, Jack and Jerry Briscoe.
That's it. That's the first, normal picture they've had. You know, at least the Briscoes actually looked normal in the picture, as opposed to all the other ones.
Both men went to the Oklahoma State Wrestling Scholarships, and they are, Bob,
two men right here, the former World Tag Team Champions, and you're looking at them as they shake the hand of Tom Miller right there. And I was on Canodal. Canodal, a former champion himself, gets in to shake the hand of all four men. Rick Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, the former champions. This match stands for the World's Tag Team Championship.
I'll tell you, unlike some other brother tag teams, you can really see the resemblance with the Briscoes.
Acceptable is Jack Briscoe will be the first man out.
And Rick Steamboat is going to start for his team. We expect this to be
Jack Briscoe here almost reminds me of what Jerry would look like during the Attitude Era when he was one of Vince's stooges.
all of them in tremendous condition and shape, tremendous athletes, and they all have such a tremendous amount of wrestling knowledge and ability. They can scientific wrestle with you, Gordon, or they can really roughhouse it with you.
Yeah, I've watched Briscoe over the years, and of course both of them. Jerry is very, very famous for that Oklahoma side roll. Jack Briscoe is an absolute past master of the fireman carry takedown. And good leapfrog here, and one
Leapfrogs are one of those things that always kind of impress me just because of how poorly I did them during the few months when I did pro wrestling training. I don't have a very good vertical leap. And it didn't help that the guy I was working with was 6'4", so I'm trying to jump over a guy that big when I'm not a very good jumper. This unfortunately did lead to me accidentally nailing him in the face with my knee, which I felt really bad about. I'm not much of an athlete, which is part of the reason I only ended up training for a couple of months, because I don't have the athletic ability.
Working together as a tag team as they have, and of course, as being brothers, good with us right here by Jack Briscoe as he's behind young.
I wasn't bad at taking bumps, which is why I actually was considering training as a manager instead, but it just didn't work out.
Really know what the other man is thinking, and it's got to be
One of those steamboat arm drags.
by Steamboat as Briscoe to the canvas. And Briscoe looking at Steamboat with a little newfound respect, I believe, here. He is going to be a bit more cautious and goes over and tags up with his brother Jerry. Well, he'll step back outside and ponder this man, Rick Steamboat.
All right, Steamboat now and Jerry Briscoe facing each other on the other side of the ring. And Gordon, I know that you're aware of this because I think you had a part in it when it happened. But let's remind the fans right here how this match came about. The Briscoes, of course, as having said that they would not be a part of Starrcade 83. Very, very different. Steamboat and Youngblood. But promoter Jim Crockett bought their contract for a match out of Kansas City and moved it right here to Starrcade 83. And here it is.
Poor fans from Kansas City.
Matter at that point in time, and it certainly proves again. Jim Crockett not something for a pioneer in bringing a new era to wrestling. He's also letting people like the Briscoes know that they're not going to run roughshod. That they're going to have to wrestle and compete, and they want to get that
That's
world
right.
title.
They aren't going to be able to pick and choose their opponents either, Gordon. They're going to have to wrestle the top contenders. And the two top contenders right now in that ring, Rick Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, the former champions. Steamboat back to that corner in a hard left. Jerry Briscoe is a natural left-hander, and he has a tremendous amount of power in that left-hand blow of his.
Well, they're both southpaws, Jack and Jerry. And Briscoe staggered. Youngblood catches him a good chop into the throat. And Briscoe coming up rather slowly, caught again. Staggered backwards. Those legs
I'm kind of enjoying the selling by Jerry Briscoe.
Side headlock makes the tag.
All right, Jay Youngblood in after that tag, and they're going to hold him and double team him for a moment there as Youngblood goes with a hip toss.
Got them tassely boots.
Referee Angelo Mosca checking the shoulders very, very quickly. Jack Briscoe protesting, and Mosca saying, hey, dear partner,
Fans, remember a flare for the gold. The World Heavyweight Championship on the line next. Ric Flair against the World Heavyweight Champion, 7 times champion Harley Race.
might remind you once again, Starrcade 83 is a copyright presentation.
You know, Muskie, you're supposed to count first.
Any reproduction of this television
flip with him. Whoa, that was a bit of a fast count. Seriously. Come on, Mosca. I know you're not accustomed to refereeing, but seriously. It was an odd situation. Got the faces cutting the ring off. You don't see that a lot. I love him reaching everywhere. Tag! Tag! Vendor. You know, Mosca's been a lot more aggressive with the Briscoes. They always push that idea, oh, this guy is, special guest referee, he's not going to take any crap. But whether it's a heel or a face special guest referee, he's still going to cheat. Because he's going to favor one side. I'm interested when one of the Briscoes goes for a pin, seeing what kind of a cadence we get on that count. I love the expression on Ricky there. Nice suplex. That count was slower. Mosca is cheating. Boo! Boo this man. See, we need somebody like Jesse Ventura or Bobby Heenan to, be on commentary to point things like this out. Because, of course, the face commentators aren't going to notice this. I remember Vince McMahon was the worst at this. Because he would side with the faces regardless. And if they cheated, that's fine. Didn't matter. He thought it was funny. Vince was always a terrible commentator anyway. Oh, wow. That is actually really impressive. I mean, Briscoe did his share to help there, but that was still really impressive. That didn't work. Nice facial expression there. I gotta say, I'm not as big a fan of Jack's selling as I was Jerry's. I gotta say, it's kind of funny that Jack Briscoe is the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion when really I think Jerry has shown to be the better wrestler in this match. And admittedly, I haven't seen a lot of stuff from the Briscoe brothers. Most of the stuff I've seen from Jerry, of course, was from the Attitude Era when he was much, much older. And I really haven't seen a whole lot of Jack Briscoe. I'm familiar with what he's done, but I've not really seen a lot of it. Nice. Put your foot on the rope here, I'll take care of that.
Now tries to set him up for another vertical suplex. Has him up. That's it. And that may be it.
Fans remember this match is for the World Tag Team Championship. The current champions of Briscoe.
No, Muska, you really could sell that arm a little. I mean, he did just roll onto your bad arm. Yeah, Muska's getting on my nerves in this match in more ways than one.
We're looking at probably the 4 finest tag team wrestlers in the world right now.
No question about him. From a standing guillotine to a lateral knee.
He really is counting slower.
Briscoe complaining to the referee now about the count. And that
I agree. Well, Briscoe has a legitimate gripe.
Jerry Briscoe caught Jack Briscoe trying to charge the ring. Stopped by Angelo Muska. And Steamboat pounding away. Caught him flush in the top of the head. Jerry Briscoe in a lot of trouble here now as again the tag was made. It's a page out of the own chapter, no question about it. Steamboat and Youngblood have been studying films, videotapes of the Briscoe brothers.
That was interesting. Ref.
Utilizing the very, very same strategy that the Briscoe brothers utilized, only doing it, I think, in this case, the students have become the teachers because they seem to have it going for them.
That was a faster count. Boo! I like you, Ricky. I'm happy for you, but that was cheap. Get him. Good. Good. Get on that arm. That wasn't right. The Briscoes have a legitimate gripe here. I condone anything they do. I'm turning heel. That was awesome. That was great. Oh man, I'm gonna have so many peaks in the audio. That's okay, I don't care. It's worth it. That was awesome. Boo! Yeah, just pull your pants up and get out of here, Mosca. You sicken me.
You're seeing a pioneering effort, a new era in professional wrestling, and we'd like it this time on the heels of this great victory by Rick Steamboat.
Again, I'm a huge fan of Ricky Steamboat, so I'm happy to see the two of them win the titles, but just the way it happened soured it for me. Moscow was a terrible referee.
I'll tell you, without all of the good folks who have worked so hard here tonight, this certainly would have been impossible. It's been a monumental
There's that person walking in front of the camera. Before we do our main event, here's the credits. See, I don't understand why they're doing this before the main event. Why don't they just do it at the end like any normal show would do? And see, if it wasn't for that I wasn't going to have enough memory on my camera, this would have been a good time for an intermission. I'm glad, that all these people are helping to make this show possible. That is wonderful, but they should really not be doing this before the main event. Oh, wait. No, I get it. This is the equivalent of the P-break match that you see before the pay-per-views. Dellinger. Wasn't he the security guy in WCW like in the late 90s? Lighting by Audio Unlimited. That doesn't seem weird. Nemo.
And I can assure you this is just the beginning. Nemo's going to be bringing you more and more great events here in Starrcade 83. And of course, now let's go to Bob.
All right, fans, and we're just minutes away. A flare for the goal. During this intermission, we're thinking about what's going to be upcoming. And of course, that World Heavyweight Championship match, Ric Flair and Harley Race, as we say now, just minutes away. Already we've seen new World Tag Team Champions. Right now, let's go to the dressing room and go.
Fans, you see the man, Nature Boy Ric Flair. He is in the best mental and physical condition of his life.
I just got a package. I would cut this out of the video, but of course with the timing of the show itself, I'm not going to be able to, so bonus video, me getting a package. What is this? Oh, I know what this is. Oh, okay.
NWS TV champion Charlie Brown from out of town.
We're gonna do it. First of all, I want to tell my people, all my brothers and sisters, I did it for you. This belt goes back to the people.
Dude, you really should have finished dressing. Yeah, really? You don't say.
Very cut, very bruised this time, Ronnie.
Is that the best you can do, huh? You say your strategy was to take away all my hearing. You see what you forgot is you got one more year to go. I beat you fast, Starrcade 1983. The next state Valentine, that United States heavyweight title, brother. That's mine.
Roddy Piper.
Except that it's not, because Piper will be in the WWE within a couple of months.
I'll tell you what.
Why is the referee hanging out with the faces?
Number 5, I'm president. I'm 5. That's right, we beat the World Tag Team Champions, not for the first 4, but for the 5th time. That's right. It goes down in the world record book. Youngblood and Steamboat, number 1, again on the top of the charts all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care who it is, even if it is the Briscoes again. We're going to closet champions, and we proved it to everybody at Starrcade 83, and we'll prove it next year.
Actually, Angelo Mosca proved it. I am not letting that go. bugged me so much. It ruined that match for me.
A good wrestler, a good tag team combination is being able to adapt to different styles of wrestling that's all around the world. You go to Japan, you go to Europe, and you have to deal with all these different types of styles of wrestlers. We've won against Paul Jones and Rashke, the Briscoe brothers, Don Canoodle, Sergeant Slaughter, all different types of combinations have gone against Youngblood and Steamboat. We may not be the biggest wrestlers going around the world, but we can adapt. We're in the best shape of our lives, and we know what it takes to be a good wrestling tag team combination.
You know, as successful as they were together, you never really hear much on Youngblood. Obviously Ricky Steamboat, seen as one of the greatest of all time. You never really hear anything on Youngblood.
All right, and Gordon, I tell you, you can feel the tension. It's beginning to build now with this championship match coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been building all night long, no question about that, and I can't help but really marvel at the fact that Steamboat and Youngblood really took a page out of the chapter of the lives of Jack and Jerry Briscoe, turned it on and did it so successfully, and certainly a well-deserved victory, and I'm very, very pleased to see these two as the World Tag Team Champions. But of course, as you said, the big thing that we're looking for now, the one match that everybody has been eyeing, is the 7 times World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race going up against 2 times World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair. The popular consensus of opinion, if you go by the fans' approval, seems to be weighted heavily in favor of Ric Flair.
That's right. Talking about the new World Tag Team.
Yeah, the only one who really didn't pick Flair was Dusty.
Just a few minutes ago, that they weren't going to be closet champions, that they were going to defend those belts this year, next year, and whenever. They were going to put them up against everybody.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Yeah, well, they're doing this little preamble. I'm going to open my package. Maybe there's a lot of tape on this thing. You two take your time there.
I didn't look at their contract, but I'm sure they must have a rematch clause. So they've got that problem to hurdle yet.
No doubt about that one. And two, I couldn't help but be impressed by Roddy Piper. And he says to Greg Valentine, says, hey, you may have got me in this here, but you forgot one thing, the other one. What about the other one? I still got it.
And the other thing they didn't get with Roddy Piper, and I don't think anybody ever will, is right here, the heart. That great fighting heart.
It took a tremendous amount of that to come back, and Roddy Piper did it. So far, Starrcade 83, what can you say about it except fabulous, Gordon? That's the only word I can think of.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Fabulous.
There's no question about it. Boy, that's what we're waiting for. Ric Flair, Harley Race, World Heavyweight Championship coming up. That's something that, well, I just hope.
Trying not to make too much noise here. I know the sound of the opening this is peaking my.
Right here. We want to go down to Barbara Clary and ringside. Well, we're not quite ready for it. I see she.
Nice. We're not quite ready.
Well, I tell you what, Barbara, of course, has been very, very busy tonight off in Japan.
Hard to get around this place.
They don't make it easy.
Special word to all of you real good folks in San Juan and throughout Trinidad and that entire Caribbean basin.
Okay, for those of you who are curious what this package that interrupted our show was, it was the latest single from Lady Baby. I'll do a video about Lady Baby sometime in the near future for those of you who aren't familiar with them. It does kind of fit because Lady Beard, the guy in here, is actually also a pro wrestler, so it fits the video sort of. I'll do a video specifically about them later.
And I'll tell you another thing too. We've heard the challenge made by Dusty Rhodes, and of course he's 2 times World Heavyweight Champion. He'd like another shot at the winner tonight. And are we ready now to go to Barbara Clary?
She's leading through the crowd.
Okay, Barbara, take it away.
I'm here at ringside with Chrissy, Sharon, Debbie, and Dusty Rhodes. Dusty, time to join you.
You know, this is what we all came from. This is real close. Dusty Rhodes traveling all over the country. Starrcade 83. I'm planning for the going right here tonight. These 3 ladies right here got their own predictions on what's going on. Who you think going to win this thing, darling?
Ric Flair!
Yeah, who you think going to win this
Ric
thing?
Flair!
Whoever it is, I said whoever it is, no matter what size or shape it is, he got to be Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, 2 times World Heavyweight
Dusty's the only one who thinks Harley's gonna win this.
If I get in and put in, stand in the middle of it, I'm the man of steel. I'm Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, live color Starrcade 83. I'm going to pick the winner.
This guy's just
The winner
kind
is,
of forcing himself into the camera shot.
I'm sure some of the fans around the country and around the world are saying, hey, what are those two guys talking there for? Really, it's a chain link fence, Gordon. It's going up around this ring out there because this World Championship match is going to be fought, of all things, inside a chain link fence.
Well, this is to make doubly sure that there is no outside interference.
You know, when you phrase it like that and call it a chain link fence, it kind of eliminates some of the brutal sound of it.
A clear-cut decision as to who wins the match.
And fans, we're about ready with
Would have
the action.
sounded
Let's
better
go
if you
to
just
Tom Miller
stuck with
for the
just calling it a
introduction
steel
of the next
cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you now stand for our national anthem as performed by Nashville recording artist and North Carolina native James Tiny Weeks.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight at the ramparts we won were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free?
Okay.
And the home of the brave.
Okay, dude, seriously, stop doing that. Also, why are they doing this again, right before the main event? Why didn't they do that at the beginning of the show? And also, dude, seriously, stop screaming. Oh, epicness. See, Flair's theme in the WWE, you know, in the 2000s and such, really lost a lot of the epicness that you feel here. Woo! You know, you could get the lights on him. I know he's there. Right there. Pyro in the 80s. Just seems so subdued. I mean, it doesn't feel as much like the Nature Boy. Though I do love the robe. But I mean, this is not, you know, the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun. This is a much more subdued Ric Flair. I do like that rope. It's a beautiful rope. Race must be on his way. I hear the boos. I love how important they're making this feel. I mean, this feels like a big deal, and a world championship match should. This is one thing that is definitely better about these old shows, is it seems so much more important.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next event of the evening is a cage match. One fall with a 60-minute time limit.
Boo! Time limits. Boo!
Fall with a 60-minute time limit. No disqualification for the World Championship. Special referee appointed for this match is former professional wrestling great from Vancouver, British Columbia, Gene Kaniski. Gene Kaniski.
Hope you do better than Mosca.
Introducing first, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger and former world heavyweight champion from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighing in at 240 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. His opponent, the world's heavyweight champion from Kansas City, Missouri, weighing in at 255 pounds, Harley Race.
You know, he didn't sound anywhere near as excited when he introduced Race.
Interesting situation here tonight. We have Gene Kaniski, former world heavyweight champion himself. He was defeated by Dory Funk Jr. for the title. You've got Dusty Rhodes, 2 times world heavyweight champion here tonight. Ric Flair, 2 times world heavyweight champion, and Harley Race, 7 times world heavyweight champion. I can think of 2 words that may sum up this entire match tonight for the 10 pounds of gold. 2 words that I think are critical here: intensity and execution. The man who has the greatest intensity.
It's okay, Gene. Just toss it over the cage.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Gordon. The man who executes best is going to come out the winner. Well, the 10
Man, I am actually really excited for this. They've built this match up well. I am excited to see this.
Time again, Gordon talked about that it was demeaning for him, the world champion, to get inside of a fence and to wrestle inside a cage.
Would you stop calling it a fence? It makes it sound so bad.
I think, to make absolutely sure, and I certainly have to congratulate Jim Crockett Promotions for this, I think to make absolutely sure that there is no question in the outcome of the match, this absolutely ensures that nobody from outside can interfere. Nobody can give either man the upper hand. And I know Gene Kiniski. I've watched him wrestle a long, long time. He is a tough-minded official.
That's something else that you don't see in cage matches these days. Although you don't see cage matches as often as you used to anyway, because they usually go with Hell in a Cell. But there were two usually main reasons for a cage match. One, interference from people on the outside, or two, the wrestlers were brawling so much that they were constantly going out of the ring, and they needed the cage to keep them in. Nowadays, to be honest, with Hell in a Cell, there really isn't much of a purpose to cage matches anymore. They've been kind of overshadowed by the Hell in a Cell.
He has got to be hype and right to the extent of his being right now.
Okay, this is no disqualification. Stop getting in the middle of them. Gene, get out of the way, man. What I was saying earlier, about referees, needing to be in there, they don't need to be that much in there. Seriously. Kiniski, get out of the way.
Well, Race has wrestled over half of his entire lifetime. He began his wrestling career when he was only 17 years old. An interesting contrast here between Flair and Race.
Yeah, Race is one of those guys I could see having that cauliflower ear from all those years in the ring. He definitely seems like that type.
On to the University of Minnesota, leaving the University of Minnesota, going into the pro ranks of wrestling. So you have here Race with the...
Why are you counting? There's no disqualifications.
But Flair perhaps with the edge.
Dude, get off him! What is it with the special guest referees in this show? Seriously, get out of the way. This is no disqualifications. Just back off. Again, he's ruining the match for me. They need to stop doing special guest referees. They ruin the matches. Of course, I say this knowing that the main event of the next Starrcade would also have a special guest referee. Oh, they don't learn. What? What is he counting?
Race will do that. He uses his entire body as a battering ram, and
Oh, nice reaction to that.
Not even for a count. Still Race right and able to kick out before the referee Gene Kiniski even got the count of one on him.
Flair kicking aside headlock now on Harley Race, the champion on the canvas.
See, right now I'm trying not to focus so much on the annoyance of Gene Kiniski as the referee, but he's making it hard because he's making too much of a spectacle of himself, and he's putting himself too much into the center of this match.
I think you're 100% right.
It's getting on my nerves. I'm really trying not to focus on it though,
They have the most intensity
because I've been looking forward to this match. I want to focus on the match.
At the same time, it seems that Race is a little cooler of the two. that he really has a little more laid back at this point and really knows what he's doing. As Flair seems to be a little more intense.
Well, good point. And the point being that Flair has to carry the battle to Race. Race can, if Race can go the hour and Flair can get the pinfall, Race retains his title. So time is his ally.
No, he could always try for the submission. I mean, he does have the figure 4.
Where Flair, and this may cause Flair, he's showing that intensity now. It may cause him to make a mistake. It could cause him to make a mistake, or it could cause him to exhaust
I
himself.
was going to say, yeah, he could tire more quickly. That could certainly happen to him. But both men, as we mentioned earlier, in excellent physical condition, and you're talking about an hour. It's hard to realize that two men could get in the ring and really wrestle and go at each other for that length of time. The fans believe.
Yeah, really, not many of them can do it anymore.
In the physical condition, they could do it and then some, Gordon.
Well, yeah, it's interesting, too. You know, the average amount of body contact in a pro football game, the average actual body contact is about 14 and a half minutes. So, you know, one fall, 1 hour time limit, let's project and think that this match does go the hour and neither man is able to be the victor. That could be equivalent then to 4 pro football games that these fellows are going with no timeout.
That's right, no timeout.
No time to go to the bench, no halftime. It'll be 1 solid hour.
That's right.
Nice.
To play right there. And Race just worked it around and got him in a position for that. I think he put Flair unaware. Flair did not suspect that was coming, and Race worked him into a position.
Telegraphed just a bit.
Flair knows, and you can tell in the opening minutes of the match here, Flair realizes when he's on the mat, he's got to be prepared that Race is coming up with something.
Good counter by Race on that one. Excellent counter. But twice Flair, or twice Race rather, has failed to execute. I don't know if this is a sign of the times or an indication of things to come, but twice he
I think it's a
failed
sign of the
to
ref.
execute. As you and I were discussing earlier, intensity and execution.
Now Flair rolling around on the mat toward the ropes, holding that head. He took a couple of hard blows to that head, and he's dizzy at this point. He is feeling it, trying to get those cobwebs out of his mind. Race, if he can, is going to continue to carry the mat until him, and the knee right down across the foot. The referee now trying to get him separated near the ropes.
Here's where I think the additional years of professional experience is serving Harley Race. He does have that advantage. He's got about 18 or better years in the pro ranks, but he is now...
I think Race wants to pop him, and I don't blame him.
And I think that his elongated period of professional experience could possibly take the toll here on Ric Flair.
When Flair gets to his feet, Race slams into the turnbuckle once again with a hard blow to the head.
And you know, eventually somebody is going to hit that cage.
Right down on the back of the neck with a rabbit punch.
We get the classic Ric Flair yelling in pain.
At this point, while he's on the mat,
Well, obviously, Race didn't put out all stops, and we heard an exclamation from the challenger.
That's what you call that?
Given the additional intensity that Race may need, he knew he hurt his man. And it'll be curious now to see how quickly and how fast he closes in on the challenger, because the challenger is in trouble. No question about it. Flair in trouble.
Why?
There's a countdown now.
Why is he counting?
Referee Kiniski tells him to resume the match, and it is Harley Race trying to set him up for the pile driver. And this may be it. This could be it. No, sir.
Do
Hold on,
not
tell you
get
something.
those pile drivers anymore. Too dangerous.
And again, Race not executed.
he did not stay on top of him at this point, Gordon. He backed away when he had him in trouble, and when he went for the pile driver, you would think right away that he would go for the pin. A count of 2 and Flair gets that shoulder up very quickly. Race, he may have laid back just too far and too long at that point.
Whether his own sense of inner timing is off or what, or whether the problems he's had with the referee Kiniski is bothering him, or what it is. But
He's
Flair
bothering
doesn't
me.
seem to have that concentration. Or Race doesn't seem to have the concentration, rather. Flair is hurt, he's in trouble, and
Where's the killer instinct? That's what we're looking for at this point.
and he's got it. Race has got it, no question about it.
Neck breaker.
Neck breaker.
Record, right?
Just like he said, he's going after the neck.
He's been on top of him now for several minutes. He is carrying the action to him. He is hurting. He's beating him around the head, and he has worked over that head and that neck, but he can't put him away.
So far, you're exactly right. So far, he has been unable to put him away, but he is getting closer and closer to it. Harley Race, 7 times world heavyweight champion.
I like it. You got that psychology. He knows there's a weakened body part, and he's going after it.
Unusual gesture for Harley
Even
Race.
with the small things like the little knee drops.
But he must be feeling very, very confident at this point in time.
Is he gonna throw him into the cage? Oh, there it is.
Has his hands on Flair. He's the one
First
who
one.
can tell how the muscle response is.
Back
how
off,
quickly
ref.
aggressively Flair is moving back against him. And he may have full and total confidence and may be exactly correct.
All right, from overhead, and our camera high in the ceiling here, you get a look at the action in the ring as Race has Flair up on his shoulder.
Is he going for Tombstone?
What's he gonna do?
Oh, nope.
A running shoulder slam with a mat. He almost drove him right into the mat with that shoulder.
Some 75 feet above the ring is Harley Race on the ECG finish.
Again, he and the referee are having some words.
Flair drives into the midsection of Race. Caught him right on the belt line.
Gordon, I don't think Race is aware of the fact that if Flair comes back at this point, that could be a bad point for Harley Race. Unable to put him away when he had him in trouble.
That is Race now taking some desperation punches, but he fires back.
Get hit, but cut his legs right out from under him.
It indeed, you just can't sell it.
And drop that head.
And he caught him using his body as a human battering ram once again. And Flair, amazingly, gets to his knees. I'll tell you, if you had to grade intensity, I'll have to grade the equal now.
That's right. I think you're right at this point. And Harley Race now, for the last several minutes, is overtaking the action of Ric Flair. And Flair is in trouble. That dream of his slammed again to the cage.
Oh.
His face driven into that chain link cage.
Oh, we've got a rarity here. We've got a rarity. This almost never happens. Ric Flair is busted open. I know. I'm just as shocked as all of you.
Gotta be a little blurred at this point. He's gotta go to that cage.
Ooh, drop of blood right on the camera lens.
Something that I'm not surprised at. He's turning that cage into an ally. He's using the cage now almost as a tag team partner. And again, there is that edge and experience in the pro ranks. Some 17 or 18 years as a professional competitor. And remember, too, here's a man who at one point in his career was told he would never wrestle again. And then to come back and win the World Heavyweight Championship an unprecedented 7 times. He has got to have the intensity. He's got to have the drive, the desire, like no other man that I've ever known. And it's a question now, is can Flair withstand this kind of intensity? And again,
Here's the referee pulling him out of the corner as he refuses to let Flair out of the corner. Flair already cut.
Oh, that is bullcrap.
They keep him off of Flair, and Flair coming with a right hand, and now he gets a few stirring words from referee Kaniski.
no question about it, Flair's face rapidly becoming a crimson mask as
That's for being slammed into that cage, too.
that steel cage is taking its toll, and of course, with the loss of that vital life-giving fluid, and it's Flair with a headbutt, blocked with a headbutt now, and Kaniski again warning.
This guy's worse than Mosca.
Brother, when you're talking about anywhere from there to an overhead shot, that's about 75 feet up, and I'll tell you something, it really gives you an interesting overview of this World Championship match.
And it's turning now into a battle of stamina. Who's going to do the surviving stamina? He reversed it on him in center of the ring and slams Race into that
I think
corner.
Race is
And
bleeding
now
too.
Race is cut around the head.
It could be indeed. We'll try and get a little closer look at this.
Woo! You know, you guys could wipe that little bit of blood off the camera. It's a little bit distracting.
He slammed Race to the turnbuckle.
Is it? While I hate seeing anybody in wrestling cut themselves, that just seems wrong. I do admit there are times where blood really enhances a match. Like in this match, it's just coming off so much more intense with them both bleeding like they are.
Ric Flair right there. Gordon tried to put Harley Race away.
No question about it. Again, back to execution.
I don't like those moves. Those are a little too realistic for my taste.
Racers on the receiving end, Flair on the giving end. And this is certainly a turnabout in this match. A deep double underhook. And high versus play. Trying for the pin, two.
Ric Flair just that close to being the world champ. One more count. He got a count of 2 on him.
A heartbeat away. Just a heartbeat away.
Fencing him. Down goes Race.
I'm going to say one thing for Ric Flair. He learns quickly.
Get out of the way!
And he found out how damaging it can be. And
I really want one of the two of them to just punch him in the face.
now he's dishing out
Say,
the
shut up!
to
Ooh, caught right on the beam.
hold himself.
Now Rick having some words with Flair about the match.
And I can't say that I blame him.
I can.
Classic competitor. And
This is a no disqualification cage match. If they want to throw each other into the cage, that is their right.
lower abdomen of Ric Flair that doubles him up and puts him back to the canvas.
Gordon, it almost had to be this type of match. You could almost know it was coming with the tension and the way the tension had been building outside of the fact.
Ooh.
The fact that Harley Race had put the bounty on Ric Flair's head, that there was so much bad blood between these men, and now he's just going to grind Flair's head right into that chain link.
Well, Flair's got to come away from this looking like a piece of raw hamburger. And I'll tell you what, Race better watch himself. He's got himself a handful of problems with Gene Knitski.
This match has a handful of problems with Gene Knitski.
Backs into the ropes, and again he's going to stand.
It's a good match, but he is ruining it.
Flair with a wild swing. Down he goes from the headbutt again.
Ooh.
Flair back to his feet, and Knitski trying to break up that right fist. And these two men are forgetting all about rules and regulations.
There are no rules and regulations. It's a freaking cage match.
Flair had him covered with a press. Again, he failed to hook that leg.
Quit ruining the match for me.
Race managed to kick out. Now the elbow. Now Flair feeling he's got it right where he wants it.
Tim might well. I like that pose there.
Back on his feet and feeling apparently very confident. But
Ooh,
he is in
he is bloody.
He's a mess, and he looks a mess.
problem here is how much loss of that
He's going for it. Woo!
He's got the figure four. It's a question now. Harley Race can settle for one of two things: a broken leg or a broken ankle. And Flair is putting it to him. Race.
Submit.
Oh, I've got to hand it to Race. Anybody else would have conceded by now.
He's trying to turn it into man, and if he can turn Flair over, he can come out of it. Very, very seldom you'll never see a man with the strength and the ability to do that. Almost had Flair turned.
He has reversed it. He has reversed it.
You got it reversed. Oh, they're in the ropes. Shouldn't matter, but you know they're going to break it up.
I have seen that happen one time. Seen it happen one time. A figure four was reversed and reversed successfully. And this one, he did reverse it, but Flair came back on him again.
That's right.
Who was the previous time? I'm kind of curious.
For Harley Race as he goes back to that headbutt when Flair comes charging after it, and there are two wounded bulls in the ring right now. They're both fighting on instinct and determination. And their hatred for each other. I think that's what's driving them at this point.
Could be the driving force, and it is Race, however, is having a bit of a problem walking. Walking back, trying to set it. That leg may have given way on him.
And into the referee goes Flair.
I'm not sure what that was. Just there. Here, your pants are riding up a little too high. Let me fix those.
Figure 4 may be the telling factor in this match.
Another headbutt, and down again goes Ric Flair. Race goes back to the corner.
With your knee, I wouldn't recommend being up there.
Second rope standing. On with that rope, with that headbutt.
I think he did just as much damage to himself as he did to Flair.
About as much as he did Flair there, Gordon.
Now that's an interesting point. He's shaking his head trying to clear those bad ones, but Flair trying gamely to get back to his feet, cannot a lateral thrust by the champion Harley Race. A 2-count and Race powers out again. One thing that I certainly admire about the referee, Gene Kiniski, his count is deliberate and steady.
And slow.
So nobody can argue about a fast count or a slow count.
No, it's slow. It's slow on both sides, but it's still slow.
Harley Race helping Flair to his feet. He's got him in that front face. He's going to get him up, and here
What
we're going to go, Gordon.
Was Kiniski helping him?
Race not moving into the lateral press.
Again, the count of 2. And when the head was raised for the third count again, Ric Flair just did kick out.
High above the ring now, you're watching these two tremendous gladiators battling it out for the World Heavyweight Championship. 10 pounds of gold.
Flair on the mat. Race now just keeps driving that left hand of his right into the face. Flair unable to defend himself. His hands down at his sides at this point. Could this be the finishing moments for Ric Flair and his dream and the Flair for the gold?
Well, could be, no question about it. Harley Race now with the upper hand. Flair in trouble. Flair doubling up those hands and firing away, but those punches just don't have any.
I like how they're showing his fatigue, as he didn't even connect with that punch. It's really showing the fatigue that Flair's feeling.
Again into the cage and over the top rope. And he
Second
looks at
rope.
this point like a beaten man.
Ric Flair, the
Get
challenger.
away!
And it appears now that he is certainly not going to be able to take the edge here on the World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race. Race getting some extra leverage that time.
Kiniski just grabbed him by the hair to pull him away.
Say one thing, former world champion Gene Kiniski is indeed doing an outstanding job as an official. He
Oh, what a laugh!
throughout this entire match.
What a joke!
To me now, like Harley
Gene
Race,
Kiniski has been a horrible referee.
and the execution.
He's done a terrible job.
Great find by Flair.
Boom!
Great find into a vertical suplex by Ric Flair.
Now here is the challenger. Back at the champion. Again, desire, determination, and sheer guts that they're fighting right now.
And Flair may be having some problems with his vision right now. His face absolutely covered in.
Yes!
I think
Yes!
and I think he could be. Race caught him with a knee right into the
As far as I'm concerned, that's the biggest victory of the night.
Got it cornered, and he's got to fight his way out.
Flair
He's
still
still
being
down on
right
his
hand.
knees, and the referee in trouble right now. Here's Flair up on the top rope.
He's got him down 1, 2, 3.
I noticed he wasn't checking Race's shoulders quite as closely as he was earlier. Brazil! Awesome!
No question about it. Ric Flair has just defeated 7 times World Heavyweight Champion Harley
We
Race.
have a brand new World Heavyweight Champion,
You can tell now, he realizes it. His goal has been reached. His
the
great
Nature
achievement
Boy,
of winning
Ric
the championship.
Flair.
You can see the crowd and how excited and pleased they are.
Yeah, that one would look confused.
Favored by the fans.
Oh Lord, it's Mosca. Two bad referees in there at once.
Many people consider to be impossible. And Flair now being congratulated.
But see, again, it's really making this seem important because all of his friends, all the faces are coming in to celebrate with him. It makes it feel important. They are missing this so much these days. And nothing feels important.
Ray still trying to understand it, still trying to figure it out.
All of Ric Flair's many cohorts in
It was a good match. I mean, Gene Kiniski ruined it quite a bit for me, but it was still a very fun match. And I am happy with how things turned out.
as they all congratulate him, and his dream of the goal has been fulfilled right here. And what a night, and what a match, and what a battle for Ric Flair.
It's upside down.
There
There you go.
I think we go back to it. We said it earlier in the match. It was intensity and execution. And in the final moments,
Nice.
it was Ric Flair.
Nice. I am very happy with how this. Overall, it's been a good show. There were some bad parts, but overall it was a good show. Had a really good main event. That dog collar match was great.
There you see it on the screen. Ric Flair, the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion, winning it for
Some of the refereeing was kind of crappy, but overall, it was a great show.
A fantastic battle, a game battle all the way. It was Ric Flair's night, no question about it. In a rematch, I'm not sure it couldn't go the other way just as easily.
I think you're right there. There's no doubt that it could, and there's no doubt that if they wrestled 5 or 6 or 7 times, Gordon, it'd be hard to pick a winner. I think they're just that close, and they're just that determined, and they're just that fine-honed as athletes.
No question. I'll tell you something. All I can say to the
Is that Ric Flair's at the time wife?
might be a satellite, and here in the
One of them?
Greensboro Coliseum,
There is Ric Flair's wife, by the way, Gordon. Let me interrupt you right there.
well,
I know she's got to be there.
you can see that, a tremendous embrace between the two of them. Obviously, a tremendously pleased woman, and you can just imagine the agony. That
Not
she
for
had
much longer.
to go through. Suffered that early on injury in the match. It looked very bad for him, but he proved indeed he did have that intensity to come back. He had that tremendous desire deep down inside. And like we were saying, on any given night, it couldn't go the other way.
The Flair for the goal and the dream of Ric Flair having been fulfilled on Starrcade 83. Still a happy man, and I'm sure that all of the ramifications of that still haven't had time to sink into Ric Flair's head.
And the thing is, Flair, whether he's thought about it yet, and I'm sure he hasn't.
I've never been a big fan of that particular NWA belt. Personally, I always prefer the big gold one, which I think I have one of the replicas of the big gold belt, which never fit me. A little too big for me, but
Getting a little cosmetic treatment there, and certainly understandably so. But Ric Flair being congratulated now by Steamboat and others in the ring. Again, I must congratulate Gene Kiniski. I think he did an excellent job as an official.
no, he didn't. Stop bringing him up. You're ruining this happy moment.
Great athlete, and I think he called it right down the middle.
And while we're talking about championships, too, while we have a chance right here, let's not forget the World Tag Team Champions, the good ones, and of course, Rick Steamboat and Jay Youngblood.
Exactly. A well-deserved victory for those two youngsters. They're going to have a tough road to hoe ahead of them. Interestingly enough, now Ric Flair must pick up. See,
Thank
these words.
Speech, 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 speech. Yay!
To try and explain what a major part all of you have played in this. To try and explain what a major part all of you have played in this would take a long time, but I want you to know, each and every one of you that are here tonight, each and every one of you that were out in the close friggin' locations, this is the greatest night of my life, and I can't thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Well, a highly emotional Ric Flair, and certainly understandably so.
It feels like a special moment, which these kind of situations should. This is really, really well done. I really feel that emotion. I mean, yes, this is well over 30 years old, but it's just you feel the emotion, and it really draws you in.
Gordon, I'm sure that you're 100% right with that. When you have a crowd as large as was in this arena tonight, over 15,000, 16,000 fans cheering for you, every single one of them need to sort of boost you. You got to feel it inside, and I'm sure Ric Flair did.
It had to give him that added courage. It had to give him that great second effort that I've seen Ric Flair do before. He knew the crowd was with him. That adrenaline had to be pumping, but I'll tell you something. Ric Flair, Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, I can't think of three greater men to hold that World Heavyweight Championship than those three. And it's going to be, I think, 1984 is going to be a very interesting year.
Starrcade 83, what an event, fans. It happened, and it happened right here, and it was a real happening and a real event.
I was going to say that. I was going to use the old Gorilla Monsoon thing of, it's a happening.
I'm happy to announce a new World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair. Rick, it started back when we were in your
There's a
house.
big
months
party
ago,
going
and
on.
Here we are, World Champion.
Oh, Jesus, started long before that. And I just don't know how to express it. I don't know how to say thank you to Ricky Steamboat, to Jay Young.
It's actually kind of creepy looking with all the dried blood all over his face.
You to all the wonderful people out there. They had the confidence and the faith.
Is there a bowling alley nearby? It kind of sounds like it.
When I was down, when I was out, and nobody knew what my career looked like the next day, everybody played such a major part in this. The guys that trained with me day in and day out, Jesus Steamboat worked out with me every day. Youngblood did, Walter McDaniels helped me. Ricky, thank you very much.
You did it.
I can't thank you enough.
Well, you had it in you. You had it in
Those two are going to be having some great matches for that belt. And yes, we will be watching those. Oh, that seems like that would hurt.
There he is, the World Heavyweight
I mean, you're pouring alcohol on an open wound. That just seems like it would hurt.
Here in the dressing room. Let's right now.
Is Shivani even old enough to
Hold
drink?
on a second. It's Dusty Rhodes.
Congratulations.
Don't you remember one thing, Daddy? Down the road, there's one more dream yet to feel. One more dream, 2 times world champion. There's only 2 of us. There's a time coming. Down the road, one more dream.
Well, that's true about that. Right now, I want to celebrate the dream that everybody's been possible for this match. Thank you very, very much.
Number 2 is the new world heavyweight champion. Yeah.
Yay!
Nature Boy Ric Flair, second time World Heavyweight Champion, and what a scene here in the dressing room. Let's now go back to Bob and Gordon.
Well, Gordon, Ric Flair right there said, yeah, that's true when Dusty Rhodes came down, but he said, right now, I'm going to celebrate what he is. I'm going to make
Well, it makes sense. I mean, he is the new World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, he wants to take some time to celebrate first.
He was reminding Ric Flair very, very quickly just what it's all about. That he may have had the toughest battle of his life tonight, but he's got tougher ones coming up. No question about that. I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to. We're seeing again shots of the beginning, I believe, of what is going to be quite a victory celebration in the Ric Flair dressing room. And hopefully, if we can, in a moment or two, we'll be going to Barbara Clary, who I think has gone to the other
That
dressing
smirk
room.
on Giovanni's
The,
face.
defeated world heavyweight champion Harley Race. I don't know whether he's going to speak or not tonight. I really don't. I can only say this.
I'd be interested in hearing what he has to say.
Nothing to say, but I
See,
can
that's something else that a lot of times you don't get that, you know, with these newer shows, you know, a person wins the title and that ends it there. I think because they don't want that high that the fans have to drop, which can happen when they're doing the interviews with the winner and loser afterwards. You know, that adrenaline that's flowing from the match can really go down, and they want to end on a high note.
Fiercely proud man, there's no question about this. And Race, naturally, is going to be gunning to gain that title back for an unprecedented 8th time.
I was going to say, here's a man that's held the title now for 7 times, having lost it again, and it's got to be running through his mind, which time is going to be the last time? You know, when am I going to be champ for the, is this it? And he's probably sitting there now contemplating, is this the final thing for me? Is this the final championship?
Yeah, that definitely has to be running through his mind. And of course, with the caliber of competition today, when you take the Rick Steamboats, the Jay Youngbloods, the Dusty Rhodes, I can go down the list of wrestlers all over the country. When you take the caliber of competition we have today in professional wrestling, any one of these men are capable of getting that title. Race, I think, over the years has been so successful because of the fact that over half of his life has been devoted to the sport that he loves so much. I think that has given him a decided edge over most of his opponents. But now, Ric Flair is facing the very same thing, and no matter where Flair goes, he knows he's going to face the very, very toughest, the very best competitor in that area, be it in Singapore, Tokyo, New Zealand, Australia, here in North Carolina, Atlanta, no matter where he goes, he's got to face the best.
I like that. Whether it be in country, state.
I think that's another important thing. And now, every match that Ric Flair gets in, he's going to have to be at his best. Everybody's going to be pointing for him in every single match. There's not going to be any easy times for Ric Flair.
No, he's the target. He's the target. Any professional wants to be the very best in his profession.
See, at this point, I do feel that they're dragging the closing out a little too much. I'm okay with interviews with the champion afterwards, and even an interview with the former champion would be fine. But at this point, they're dragging it out too much. I think they should have ended it by now.
Deserves it any more than he did in the battle that he put forth tonight to gain that title. But and I don't know. I have not heard word yet as to whether or not we're going to be able to get a word from the defeated champion Harley Race. I'm hopeful that we will, but it may be that we're not going to be able to. I just don't know.
We're going to try. That's for sure. And we're going to try that right now. So let's see if we can get a word from Harley Race, Gordon.
Harley, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I could tell from the big grin on your face.
Other than I did it 7 times. There's not a thing on the face of God's green earth that stands in my way of doing it 8 times. Other than the life of the Dusty Rhodes and the ultimate Ric Flair and a few people in that category.
What's that
I've been
noise?
there. I've done it all. Flair, this is your night of glory. The night that was arranged for you. Please, please believe me when I tell you this, that I'm not packing it up and going away and hide. I'm gonna hound you like you've never been hounded before in your life. You drove me absolutely insane for 6 months. I'll guarantee you that you'll live through hell until you meet me again.
Ric Flair worked hard for the belt, but he's going to have to work even harder to keep it. Gordon, back to you.
And Harley Race answered some of those questions that we have been asking, and then we asked earlier when he said he did it 7 times. There's nothing that can keep him from doing it the 8th time, and the fact that he's going to hound Ric Flair personally.
No question. That's exactly what I thought. Harley Race would have to say he's that kind of a man.
Well, you got to figure
May I
he's
just
going to
say one
have
thing? I
a
think we've
rematch
seen
clause.
here tonight.
I mean, they mentioned it in one of the earlier title matches.
There's no question. We're entering a brand new era of professional wrestling.
Let's go back down now to Tony in the dressing room. Tony?
Well, not many times are we able to stand with so many world champions, but you're looking at it right now, the new World's Tag Team Champions for the 5th time, I may say, and of course for the 2nd time, the World's Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair, and some of your thoughts, gentlemen.
Well, we know where to begin. This is a dream that three of us had. Let's face it, you come through life, you try to achieve goals, you try to, no matter what you do, you try to be the best at what you are day in and day out. In our sport, the things that symbolize you as being the best are championship trophies. And we work very hard for them. Doesn't mean to say we'll be here tomorrow because there are a lot of guys out there that are the best on any given night. Tonight, we like to think we're the best. Rick Steamboat's going to let me drink a beer to celebrate because I'm through training for a couple of days. and I know I'm not...
Flair not being able to drink was probably the hardest part of the training.
We wouldn't be here. I'm talking about the three of us, or Roddy Piper, or Wahoo, or Rufus, or Jimmy Valiant, or any of the guys...
Jimmy Valiant? Jimmy Valiant wasn't here tonight.
This tremendous occasion tonight. It don't work for all the tremendous support from a lot of fine people out there that have stood by us through thick and thin. I want to say thank you very much, and I want to thank these two guys and congratulate them because they've done something that nobody else in the history of professional wrestling has ever done. And they just won these titles for the 5th time, and they've been through it, and they've been some awful tough guys.
Thank you very much, Rick. As everybody knows, it's been a long night. The training periods have been very, very long. The hours that we put in, the sweat, the bruises, the pain, and the many times that we thought that we'd get something down in a particular move or hold, and then it would come around until you just keep plugging at it and plugging at it. But when we came here tonight, we had set our minds to walk away and go home as champions, and we did. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. That's all we need to say.
Fans, world champions, all around us, the World's Tag Team Champions, Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, and of course, the World's Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
How come Charlie Brown's not in there? I mean, he's the world television champion.
A lot of gold right there going around those three guys.
No question. You know, I was just thinking too. You know, the National League and the American League brought us the World Series. The NFL has brought us the Super Bowl, and now Jim Crockett Promotions has brought us Starrcade '83. Frankly, I can hardly wait for Starrcade '84. It's got to come.
I tell you, it's been an event, and it's really been something that I think sensational and fabulous. I don't know. You can't even come up with the adjectives to describe what has happened and the elation that these guys are feeling. And I have to be touched by the fact that while they're there and they're so happy about what happened to them, Gordon, you can look at Ric Flair and you can listen to he and to Rick Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, and at the same time they seem very humble about it.
They are indeed. I'll tell you one further comment. They are, in fact, in my mind, the world's greatest athletes.
Starrcade '83 fans and Jim Crockett Promotions, delighted to bring it to you. As we say, we had a packed house and a packed arena, some 16,000 fans in Greensboro, North Carolina, all of you fans around the world, and in Puerto Rico and in Trinidad and some of the other places, Gordon. What a great opportunity it was for them to see and to watch this event as it was happening.
No question about it. From Walla Walla, Washington to New York City to Miami, hey.
Well, that's a way to close it. Hey. It's almost as bad as my closing. Alright, yeah, well, I still love that. Well, they're doing their little montage of the main event, which I'm assuming is probably going to be the closing here of the show. Start giving my thoughts. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun show. Some good matches. Chance to see some guys I'm not as familiar with. Chance to see some guys I'm very familiar with, much younger. really, I enjoyed the show. The only thing that really bothered me were the special guest referees in the two last matches. Those really hurt a little bit because they took away from the matches. But overall, it was a good show. I really enjoyed it. I will definitely be doing this again. I'm going to try to go in chronological order, both NWA, WCW, WWE, and ECW. So, therefore, of course, the next one I will do will be Starrcade 84, which I don't know all the matches, but I do know that the main event was Ric Flair defending the world title against Dusty Rhodes. So it took a year, but we're finally going to see that match that Rhodes was saying he wanted. And I believe this was called the $1 Million Challenge, because aside from the title being on the line, the winner also gets a check for $1 million provided by the NWA and Crockett Promotions. So that's to look forward to the next time I do one of these. That's all I've got. Again, really enjoyed the show. Hope you guys had some fun watching, listening along, hearing me tell stories and riff on the crap happening in there. So, until next time.